out, she holds. It's feeling like we've been here before. We're both so broke, that's something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow, we can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the day's so far from pure. A rush of blood, but we search for so much more. We've all been here before. We've all been here before. We've all been here before. Hand out, she holds. It's feeling like we've been here before. We're both so broke, that's something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow, we can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the day's so far from pure. A rush of blood, but we search for so much more. We've all been here before. We've all been here before.
It's that time of year, everybody. November 12th, 2024. Semester starting to wind down. Classes well over halfway completed. Competitive seasons ending for some of us, but not all of us. And where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with potentially my favorite word in any form of competition: playoffs. Ooh, it's enough to get a chill down my spine. Chris Clayton, joined once again, and as always, by my lovely brother Kevin, as we come to you live from our Shenandoah Esports Arena here in Winchester, Virginia, preparing to take you through our first playoff series in our program yet this year. Shenandoah University Smash Bros. In NECC competition is taking on New Jersey City University, and it's going to be very exciting. This team has been through a lot. We know a lot about this team. How are you feeling so far?
I'm feeling pretty good, not only from just walking into this space and getting that sort of energy from these players who are all super locked in, making sure everyone's getting a little bit of playtime, but also there's just something about this year that feels so different from the past. There's a different level of just focus and competition out of these players. I'm super excited no matter what this outcome looks like for these next couple of days, because it will be electric.
Oh, I agree. It's the atmosphere here is very palpable, right? Yeah. These players feel, I think, better than they've ever felt. They're hotter than they've ever been before, at least in our experience ever casting over them. But we don't have to sit here and speculate. We have Ben Kincaid standing by with one of the players, Avery Giesemann Igloo. So we're going to throw it over to him to take us through a little pregame interview. Ben, take it.
Thank you very much, guys. I am Ben Kincaid, joined by Avery Giesemann. Avery, I have a few questions for you tonight here as we go into this matchup. First and foremost, how are you feeling about tonight, and how do you feel about being in playoffs?
Oh, it's so exciting, Ben. I don't know if you were even here for my first ever playoff run when I came to this school, but I haven't been in a playoff since my very first semester here at Shenandoah, at least in the NACE division. So it feels extra good to be in those NACE playoffs. NECC playoffs we have been in before. This is a familiar territory for us, but this is the first time we're entering NECC playoffs, and we feel really good about our chances. In the past, we've run into Stony Brook University, who's obviously one of the top-tier schools in Smash Bros. Right now. So I feel really good that we get to enter an NECC playoff and have a really strong chance of performing well.
Oh, yeah, that is great to hear, right? And we've seen a lot from this team throughout the semester. What are we looking to expect here possibly from the team here tonight?
I mean, what you're going to see tonight is really just the path of growth that we've taken. There's a lot of diversity in this team, and I think that's why it's really strong. A lot of us have been working on two characters that we can move back and forth with, and we've also developed a really strong game plan and a sub-game plan as well that we can deviate from if we end up needing to. But really, at the beginning of the semester, we were doing a lot of experimentation, making sure that we get our subs in, making sure that we come up with the best possible strategy to give us the best possible chance to win in playoffs, and tonight you should see that strategy come to fruition.
So we've looked a little bit at New Jersey City University, right? And they have a pretty strong player in this Lucas player, right? Do we expect that to be a problem going into this matchup? Do we have a plan going in around this? You don't have to share the plan, of course. We don't want to give too much away before we start the game plan, but how do we feel about this specific player?
We do feel strong about our chances versus Smash Bros. The Lucas player, Ben. I do want to say he did give us some nice trouble last year, so we do have some VODs to go over in that regard. But we feel really good about our game plan. We understand how he likes to play and the team around him, how they like to play. We have a game plan going into it. He does present some problems. You got those reflectors against things like Kyle's Hydrant that we have to work around. He has this more slow play style who can also go in and make a lot of damage happen quickly. So it's a tough dynamic to play. When you got a PR player on the team, that's always going to be someone you got to watch out for, someone you got to prepare for, or they're going to catch you off guard. But they got to do the same thing for us because we can put those same threats on the board.
No, for sure. One last question for you. A little bit maybe a long-winded answer for this one, but we've had a great semester for this Smash Bros. Roster, right? From the beginning of the semester to where you are now, what has grown and what has everyone learned throughout the semester playing together?
Yeah, I mean, we've learned so much, Ben. It's been a great team dynamic this semester. I must say, the team dynamic has looked better than ever. It's been such a pleasure working with these new players and old players from this roster. We've had players come and go, and the vibe has just been really strong with this team. So it's been great to, get these wins under our belt, that we can have that team motivation through that. But also our losses have been, very short-lived as far as the depression phase of losing matches, and we've been able to regain really well. So I feel like what you're going to be seeing today, as opposed to at the beginning of the semester, is, like I said earlier, that solidified strategy that we feel like is our best chance of taking the victory. And then also the team mentality, I think, is really stronger than ever. We haven't seen a lot of loss from this team recently in the semester. So I think once we get that first game loss, that's when you'll really see the team go for those readjustment phases, and you'll get to see that for the first time. But really, the solidified strategy is what we're looking for tonight, because I think it's really strong.
No, for sure. Well, thank you very much, Avery. Good luck with the rest of the night. It's going to be a blast, right? Expecting an SU win, of course. Thank you very much for joining me. Back to you guys.
It sure is going to be a blast. I mean, how can you not love listening to him talk Smash Bros? I could do that all day, every day. He sounds confident. The team sounds confident. I think we're going to have a lot of fun today.
Oh, it's going to be so good. And I want to talk just a little bit about what he addressed when it came to these players, just not only the start of the semester, sort of building off of that. There is just this, I'm so excited to see what sort of game plans start getting put in now that we are in playoffs, because so far we've seen so much of Shenandoah's strategy has been overwhelming. There have been multiple matches where one player from SU goes in and just cleans house. So going into this bracket side of things now, where it is top level play all across the board, hopefully that means we get to see a little bit more of what's to come.
Yeah, and as we show on your screen, I want to take a look back, or I guess take a look forward at how we got here, right? We see Shenandoah matched up with New Jersey City, and this is an 8-team playoff in the Chesapeake Regional Playoffs. Shenandoah and New Jersey City, are ranked 5 and 4 respectively. Shenandoah coming in as the underdog in this matchup. The winner will go on to play the already advanced William and Mary 1 seed up there at the top of the bracket. So a lot coming their way, right? That's a really strong roster. We know how strong that roster is because we have history against that school. That's a very close school to Shenandoah. So we will see if they're able to come out on top in that matchup, but in order to get there, they need to get over the hurdle right in front of them, which is New Jersey City University today. So, big moment, right? I mean, this is playoff Smash Bros. This is elimination time, too. It's mattered a lot leading up to now. It has never mattered more than right now, because if Shenandoah does drop this series, their NECC season is over.
And that is never a good feeling, to close out a season so early. So with all of these players locking in right now with this legendary roster that we have going, their goal tonight is going to be a simple one. Do not drown right away, as we do get a look at our starting roster right here. AJ and Avery starting things off with, of course, Kyle and Will. All of the regular faces you know and love, but also the subs are here behind us as well. If we get into a scary matchup, Joshua and David are going to be here ready to rock and roll if needed.
Yeah, these are the guys that we've become so familiar with over the course of the year, right? These players in both NECC and their NACE Varsity Premier competition that we've been following all year long as well have frankly been dominant. They dropped their first 2 series of the year in NECC and have not lost since. They are 3-2 right now and undefeated in their NACE competition. So when I said earlier that this team is hotter than they've ever been, I mean it. They have got it figured out. They have faced their adversity, including those 2 losses and the Game Mason series that we've talked so much about all throughout the year, right? This team has been put in holes, put in tight situations, and overcame those situations to find themselves where they are now.
Yeah, when it comes to these players, not only are when you're in these win streak situations where you feel like you're on top of the world, that is arguably when you're most vulnerable. And so, as we see, all of the players right now are very much sort of in that locked-in state. They're focused on the game, focused on what's at hand, trying to get ready. They're not getting big heads about this. They're not sitting here thinking that they're the best. They're seated in one of the hardest seeds to get through this bracket, being the 5th seed, because next week you're fighting number 1.
Yeah, and we can look at the standings here from the regular season that they had to play in this group. It is a relatively small group, but you may recognize one of the teams on that left side of your screen, William and Mary. I said familiar opponent, local opponent. That's because they were in our group. They are one of our 2 losses in this group. So William and Mary finishes the group undefeated, earns that 1st seed in the bracket, but Shenandoah, again, dropped those first 2 series, and I believe the other loss was to Pace University. So they lost the 2 teams that placed above them, took care of business against the teams that they should have, and find themselves as the 5 seed going forward.
And with that, I also want to address, at that time, this roster was relatively fresh. While, yes, you do have returning players in the majority of what we had to offer, the dynamic wasn't what it is now. There was definitely this point where Shenandoah was still trying to figure out their team identity. Who should be trying to take this lead or trying to connect these bridges of stocks? So now, as we are in this playoff sort of season, we're starting to see this identity form for Shenandoah. Who is going to be sent in against your relative zoners versus your rushdown and everything in between? And we got a lot of good answers, a lot of good coverage, but we also have not seen a lot of characters that tend to really shake up Ultimate's meta. I mean, the Steves, the Min-Mins of the world have not been on this desk. The Wii Fit trainer, who every now and then we see, who tends to truly just shake everything, turn it on its head. And now we're getting word of a Lucas player as well, who is going to command so much respect. While yes, Igloo mentioned earlier that we are going to be aware of like who we need to send in and all of that, that doesn't make it any less scary.
No, not at all. And you're right. With certain characters that can just sort of command a certain amount of respect, like the Steves and the Min-Mins of the world, that's certainly something to keep an eye out for. And as we prepare to load into our first matchup, I do want to take some time to highlight the other team as well. New Jersey City, we know a little bit about coming into this matchup, and one of the things that you already mentioned was this Lucas player. Ben talked about it in the interview as well. Sounds like the team feels like they're ready for it, but we also have history against that player. This Shenandoah squad has gone up against New Jersey City in the past, and they won by nature of a forfeit. It sounded like something came up mid-match, but they were, to be fair, on track to lose that series. Shenandoah was on track to lose that series, and they ended up winning via forfeit. But when Igloo says, when Igloo says that this player gave us our fair share of trouble, he's not joking. And I also want to take a moment to highlight the other 2 players / characters that we know about are a Joker player and another Joker player, which is kind of funny because that's not allowed. But they're not breaking rules. They have switched to another character. It sounds like Joker player number 2 plays Aegis instead, since you can't play the same character twice in a crew battle. But really, that's kind of all we know. But the main reason I brought it up is because this Lucas player that we've talked a good amount about, we have heard rumblings that they also have a Steve in there. Ooh. We're not expecting it to come out. It would be a massive mix-up if it does, but it's there. As Igloo put it to me right before the broadcast, there is a non-zero chance that that becomes a Steve today.
Scary stuff. I mean, looking at that roster alone, if you've been in the Smash Bros. Scene long enough, you can't help but shake just a little bit at what you have to be dealing with. That is a lot of really good rushdown, really good zoning, and everything else. While we talk about the strengths of what Shenandoah's roster has going for them, this roster sounds like it's got a lot of the same. So it's going to be on that little bit of a chess battle that they're going to need to do outside of the game. Who's going in first? Who's going to be the anchor? Who do we need to be sending in for these certain matchups that we may struggle with? That is the sort of mental game that will be so critical going into this. As well, in the last week or so, I feel like we've been seeing a resurgence of Jokers in the world. Yeah. And it's getting scary. Leo. Yeah. You saw the clip, Chris?
Yes.
My man Rebel Guard 6 times and got all of them. What do you do?
Move is broken. I mean, I talked to Igloo about that exact clip like just yesterday. And this is a side note, this has nothing to do with today's matchup. I mean, I guess it does. We'll likely see a Joker today. But he told me that he has been dying on the hill that Rebel's Guard is like one of, if not the best move in the game, and nobody has believed him. And that clip came out, and he's like, I truly think that, you know, this narrative around Leo being washed is sort of starting to fade away because he's Rebels guarding more. So, I don't know. Funny little tangent, but yeah. These characters are something to look out for, surely, right? Joker certainly never really went away, but somehow you're right. I do feel like we're seeing a bit of a resurgence.
And it also ties in with what Shenandoah's roster has going for it. A lot of the time when we talk about the mistakes that these players make, it's usually on going for a grab in the wrong spot. Pac-Man, Yoshi, and those two specifically have very long grabs. They take a while to go out, come back type deal. And, like, when it works, that's great. But when you have a character who has a move to deal with everything but grab, but your grab is a high-risk committal option, it's worrying to use that. You'd never want to be putting yourself in that sort of situation where your go move that could very easily put you in a long combo or make you lose that stock. Stocks are so critical in this format. And so, dealing with a character like the Joker, again, it may be on a potential matchup swap-off for these players, taking the time to say, okay, ordinarily we'd want 3 stocks, but if I could just get my 1 or 2, and then get the bridge, whoever's going to connect that line to go in next, that is what is going to win this crew battle.
Yeah, you're right. And I am confident in saying we know our team pretty well, right? You and I have been able to follow this team throughout the year and see the ups and downs that they have gone through, but a lot more ups than downs, I don't mind telling you. We know strategy, loosely speaking, has been more or less the same week to week. It has largely been Kip going in first, Willie going in last, and sort of as needed in between, right? And the biggest addition, the biggest difference this year, in my opinion, has been the addition of our subs, namely Fall Rhombus on this Jigglypuff is such a niche addition, or a niche territory that our team could not quite fulfill. That Jigglypuff playstyle can't really be replaced by anybody else on our roster, and to be able to have that player on the right side of your screen right now as at any needed moment to be able to slot in is a bigger deal than you might think. Even though he's listed as a sub, that's a very big deal for this squad.
Oh yeah, if we talk about matchup knowledge in this sort of situation, Pac-Man a lot of the time has done a lot of matchup knowledge for the opponents where they don't know how to get past that fire hydrant, and Kip is able to get so much for it. If we run into an opponent who maybe does have some sort of answer or some sort of go-to game plan, not only does Jigglypuff play a little bit differently than all these other characters, but there are a handful of characters on this game's roster that they don't have the
just
answer.
Can't.
Yeah, Jigglypuff is so floaty and just kind of sits around your shield range. Like, take a character who has a great out-of-shield option. Yeah, that's great if Jigglypuff is sort of dancing around and stuff, but that back air is relatively large, and even so, if spaced properly, a good Lucina up special, maybe a Pyramithra up B to, like, get off of me type deal, suddenly there's a pink puffball who's approaching you slowly just to sleep on you.
Yeah, and there is one more thing that I want to address as we prepare to take you into this series very shortly. I said there's one major difference between this team and previous Shenandoah Smash Bros. Squads. I think I'm going to change that to 2, but barely. And the reason for that is there's a player that I think has massively improved, and that is Willie. In our anchor position, good lord. For lack of better terminology, good lord. I mean, watching this player play, watching this player perform, and I use that term intentionally, has been a massive game changer for this team.
Oh yeah, and he feeds off of that energy.
Oh, yeah.
He loves being put in those sorts of situations and has been getting more comfortable in that sort of spot ever since. If that is something that you're going up into, where your opponent is super okay with all the cards against them, you gotta be scared.
It's a
And that's what
dangerous
we
spot.
see. That's what we see every time Willie is on, is that players who are starting to bring that momentum back for their team are starting to carry that flag forward, say, I will be the one to bring it home, are suddenly spiked down into the nether region. It's scary.
Yeah, and the reason I say that I struggle to call that like a massive difference is because Willie, I mean, it's hard to say which one of our players is the best player, right? They're all good at different things. Their characters fulfill certain needs, and at the end of the day, this is a team game. But I will say I do think Willie was probably the most sound and strongest player even coming into the year. And somehow, he's only gotten better. That's the key. That's the difference between this 2024 SU squad and as recent as last year. These are two completely different beasts.
Well, not only that, the consistency of this roster has been something else. I want to talk a little bit about AJ here for a second. Every single time that this bird has gone in, they are taking at minimum 3 stocks. They're trying to make sure that they're doing their part and they're doing it right, sticking to the same game plan and getting that guaranteed value. When you're playing certain matchups, there is what I like to call guaranteed value there. You will not have an answer for everything, or you might just get a little lucky. But when it comes to Falco, who's just well built around everything, he has gotten so much off of these runs where he will go in and knock out one player. One player who could be problematic for the side of SU is no longer dealt with. Because AJ says, this is all I need to do. Y'all have crazy game plans going. We've seen either the Pac-Man or the Kazuya just clean house, but AJ's consistency has been amazing, as well as Igloo's adaptability recently. That Samus pickup?
What is that?
It has been...
What is that?
It's been putting in work, Chris, and I am shocked to say, because the first time I saw it was on this desk, I believe last semester,
I think so.
and Avery was so determined to really bring that forward, try and this is something I need to build for the betterment of the team. And now it's here, and now it's performing. It's filling in another gap that should be a weakness in the squad, and now it's not there.
Yeah, all of a sudden, what was sort of a niche, or extra niche, I'll say, sort of one situation where this Samus pick makes sense and we're gonna put it in when we need it, is now a lot more volatile, a lot more realistic, a lot more seasoned. That Samus pick is real, and it pains me to say that. It's just as a Smash player, you kind of hate going up against that sort of ranged, campy playstyle. But this is a team game, and this is a competitive league. You need to find ways to win, and that's what our team has done. They've adapted, they've found ways to win, and man, I expect them to do it again today. But it's going to be a close one. Right, these teams are very evenly matched. This is the 4 seed against the 5 seed. It's going to come down to little moments, little details, little bits of preparation that are going to separate these two teams.
I do also want to address, you want to talk about the adaptability of Avery. I was talking with him, Kip and I were playing our fighting games and just kind of having a good time. Igloo stops by, talks a little bit about the Rebels Guard stuff, but also Revenge. And
yeah.
I mean, it all just falls into place. Igloo's like, I can pick up Incineroar. That move is broken. So I'm curious to see if that adaptability will come into play as we hop into game number 1. We've got Kip's Pac-Man versus Rampage on the Joker, which means that we are already seeing one of these intimidating characters to start things off.
Yeah, we are here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, playoffs have started. SU trying to take on their first opponent in this 8-team bracket. New Jersey City University putting in Rampage, you said it, on this Joker. A very strong, well-rounded character that we talked a little bit about, has that Rebels Guard, hasn't used it yet, but certainly something to keep an eye on. But so far, Kip asserting his presence, right? But, oh man, gets caught with the bell. A great attempt there from Rampage to try to get the smash attack off the stun, but can't quite find it. We're back to a bit of a neutral stage here, as now man, that Arsene is putting in work, and Kip has not been able to deal with it just yet, but there he goes.
Yeah, so now Arsene is offline. Usually, in most situations, you only see Arsene one per stock, and that means that now Kip can sit a little bit pretty, get his setups going, and try to get a little bit of a stronger control of this game plan. But when it comes to this Joker, we are seeing these back airs come out. Yes, they won't take the stock just yet, but at the same time, they're still giving Joker that stage control, as Pac-Man is not able to make it back because of the trampoline. He ate just one little hit and was not able to make his way back to the ledge, but Joker is still at 132. One good bail hit into the up smash means that now it is 2 stocks to 2 stocks as the lead is brought back even.
Yeah, an uncomfortable, uncommon situation there that Kip, finds himself in off stage, but certainly nothing to panic about, right? We did see Kip find so many great combos in that first stock and really command most of the stock until the very end. Now, Joker going off stage trying to get that Gimp, but we know how good Pac-Man's recovery is in all directions, right? Kip can make it back on stage from just about anywhere on your screen other than the blast zone. So as he is comfortably on stage now, finding these combos, finding these smash attacks, a great read there, but here comes the Arsene. The stun finds its way there onto the ledge. Arsene still with that great recovery. A smash attack comes out there for the Joker, now launching Kip all the way to the other side of the stage, 100% on this Pac-Man as they look to get the back air. Well teched there from Kip. He's back on stage.
Yeah, Nabel is online. Joker opting to run towards the Pac-Man instead of running away. And while Kip is at 140, this up air won't be able to take the stock because Pac-Man is just heavy enough, and Joker's moves are now in that weakened state without Arsene. So now, again, the game plan is starting to slow down, but Joker does have a bell in hand as the Pac-Man grab just barely doesn't connect.
Yeah, that was so close and such a good read, too. He did read the shield, but the range was just quite not there. And now both of these players have really slowed down, trying to not lose the stock that they have. Kip finds the stun onto the Hydra in a bit of a sketchy situation there, but now the stun will land off the platform. Wow, Rampage not ready for it to linger on the platform, does jump into a stun and will go down, but the drag down up air into that up smash, that is textbook Joker, and we are tied once again. 1 stock remaining for both of these players.
Yeah, 2 players who are so evenly matched, trying to go back and forth on these exchanges. Arsene is online just a little early, which means that now we may see 2 runs of this as a Galaga is thrown out, trying to get a little bit of damage onto this Joker and get that Arsene out of here as quickly as possible. As a very aggressive forward smash does get Joker on the back foot just a little bit, as now the Arsene is offline.
Yeah, man, and this is exactly what we were expecting, man. These 2 players are so evenly matched. These teams are so evenly matched. I expect every single matchup to be just like this. This is narrow. This is nail thin. I mean, so close. But so far, Kip got this Rampage up over 100%, and Arsene a little close to coming out, but Kip might be able to take the stock before it comes out if he's able to get in right about now. But got to be careful of that Rebel's Guard. The Arsene will come out, the flare across your screen that we all know and love. Kip now forced to sort of sit and survive. Finds the Nair in the apple at a disgusting angle. Finds the kill center stage, and Kip takes the early lead for Shenandoah University.
That apple is not supposed to. There's
Dude,
no way.
that's actually crazy.
No. I refuse, Chris. That apple, center stage. I get that it sends to the top blast zone, but still, Joker was on the ground, gets sent to the heavens from an apple. Crazy stuff.
I didn't see exactly what percent that Joker was at, but I want to say it was about 115-ish, maybe 120, right before he got hit by the apple. So high percentage, sure, but I think I agree with you, right? We know that apple can kill, but I expected at higher percentages where just about anything would kill. Wow, I mean, good awareness from Kip, right? These are little moments that I'm talking about. These are high-level teams and high-level players. They're gonna know certain interactions like that. 134 when he died is the final number from our production team. Hoo-wee! I mean, an apple a day keeps a persona-wielding high school student away.
So there you go. We want to talk about mental chess for a moment. How many times? I would say 3 or 4 times. Kip was the one wielding the bell, has his setup going, And Joker, no fear, would run forward, which is an answer. You don't have to fear and walk away. You are allowed to go into the belly of the beast and try to get Kip trying to cover space that he probably shouldn't have access to. But it happened so many times, 4 or 5 times earlier on, and now that 5th time where Joker walks up and Kip is ready with the proper fruit in hand, chucks an apple at Joker, and Joker goes off the top. Shenandoah has the lead. 1 stock lead. We now get to see who the other side sends in. So many crew battles are decided by this moment right here, Chris.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is actually such a pivotal moment because although Shenandoah only has a 1 stock lead, this has been the storyline for this SU squad literally all year. This has been the difference in so many of their wins. This exact situation where somebody on an opposing school is tasked with just taking out 1 stock from a Shenandoah player. Sounds easy on paper, but all of a sudden, kind of before you know it, and uncomfortably often, Shenandoah is able to take way more stocks, 1, 2, sometimes even 3 or more in this exact situation. So I don't expect a massive runaway here for Shenandoah, right? I keep saying it, and I will continue to say it. These teams are very closely matched, but any advantage you can build is a big deal in the long run. So this 1 stock lead is already a big deal now, and it gives SU an opportunity to further snowball this advantage.
And on top of that, the information is out there. We have talked about 3 players on the opposing side. A Pyra/Mythra player, a Steve or Lucas player, and this Joker player. There is a mysterious factor here. They could be sent in right now, and if that happens, that information, there's suddenly no questionability about what characters we will see 90% of the time. But on the other side of that, if you send in, say, the Aegis next, we assume you keep this Lucas or Steve in the back pocket and try to anchor it, considering how well they performed last time around. But that means that we have the matchup preferability going into the next round. And we got Prehistoric Dino, who can dance around, or Futuristic Bird, who is also willing to just sort of jump around and cause problems. So as we hop into this game, keep an eye on what character they send in, as well as what potential matchups you would expect going forward.
Right. Ultimately, this is a team game. You have to be thinking down the line. And although Smash Bros. Is a one-on-one game, that's just not the case in crew battles. And so with this situation, right, this will be Kip preparing to load into his second matchup here with only 1 stock. You have to think who's in reserves, right? Unless Kip is able to just wipe the floor and take 3 stocks easy, and then we're here talking a completely different storyline. But if that's not the case, yeah, you have to think Shenandoah has so many options. You said it. Futuristic Birdman, Prehistoric Dino Man. There's also that futuristic suit of armor lady
right.
that Igloo has in reserves, right? So many options, such ground that Shenandoah can cover. It's going to be interesting. But as we prepare to load into our next matchup, here we have our answer in front of us. Player number 2 for NJCU, will be this Aegis that we talked about.
All right, earlier on, I made a comment about your guarantees in these games. Mythra, in my opinion, is a guarantee. The character plays so incredibly quickly and is able to get so much damage up early, but so far, we're not actually seeing the Mythra to start things off. There it is, the swap initially after a good couple of hits. Now, if Kip is going to find his opportunities to close this out, it's going to be while this Pyra is the one on the screen, rather than the Mythra in the background. Mythra is almost too fast. What are these trip interactions? That was 4 go-arounds of just forward tilt, and the bell is in hand. Chris, Pac-Man is doing so much.
And again, this is Exhibit A. This is the situation we see Shenandoah in all too often. Tasked with one situation. Get rid of player number 1, and other teams cannot do it. This is a guaranteed stock advantage coming out of this matchup no matter the result, and it could only get worse for this Aegis. Look at these strings, using the platform, finding the up airs 80% and finding the grab off the switch.
And now the Mithra is here, but it might be a little too late as the bell is thrown out, but it is caught in the air. Gets around the side special, but the forward smash is just a little bit far out for the spacing as Kip is sitting at 53. Mithra going for the forward smash. It won't take the stock just yet. If they're looking for this stock right now, it's going to be on the Pyra, but right now I think they're just looking for that damage to keep Kip on his toes.
Yeah, and this is now a little scary territory. We do see the key come out for the first time, so that the jig is up on that one. As the element of surprise on that is now a little bit gone as we see it come out a second time there. 143% though is very scary for this Pirate Mithra, but now Pac-Man is also up to a percentage where he could go down soon, but might not need to as Kip finds a second stock. Center stage does not matter. NJCU down to 7 stocks total, trying to just get rid of the Pac-Man on their screen.
And what a beast it has become. The Pac God is here to play, and he does not mess around as he is dancing around what this Pyra has had to offer. Pyra has been on the screen longer than Mithra has, and they have struggled to find this one stock on this Pac-Man. He's so slippery and is able to keep getting back onto the stage if they can't get this final hit. As the Galaga is now back in Pac-Man's hands, we may see another good setup here.
Yeah, and this looks like a whole different player so far on this third stock. This is reckless aggression, and I think that's what you need. You need to put this stock away now. 140% Kip, excuse me, needs to get off your screen, and sure enough, the Nair from high up, man, as Kip was looking to start a combo there, potentially get some extra credit, but unfortunately at too high of a percentage, finds himself caught. But man, 5 stocks to start from this squad on your screen? Holy, what a way to start this series.
You gotta be feeling good, right? You are so aware at how consistent Shenandoah's roster is. We talked about it. These players are able to sort of bridge these gaps needed where to really put themselves in favorable matchups. And this time around, it was not needed. The Joker matchup was close. It was both sides traded back and forth, but Kip found his opportunity to really open up that Joker player and get that momentum going. And then that Aegis player, I am all for playing whichever character you find fun in this game. But you want to use all the tools you have available to you. And so sticking on that Pyra for so long, you don't have foresight, you don't have the speed to dance around what your opponent has to offer. It's too much, especially when Pac-Man just takes up so much space.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to watch, and now we're confronted with the same mental situation that we talked about just before that last matchup. This is a team game. You have to think down the line. The secret to success for every competitive team, whether it's traditional sports or not, for most of the most successful teams ever, know your job and do your job. I mean, that's the ticket, right? Kip just went out and took 5 stocks before going down. So that means for the rest of the team, your job has now become a little bit lighter. The averaging 3 stocks is now behind you. These players still need to go out and execute, but Kip just went out and took a massive load off the rest of this roster.
Yeah, so as we hop into this game and the Aegis player goes off losing those 2 stocks, we do see AJ is sent in, and you want to talk about bridging these matchups and trying to get as much information as you can. I do think that AJ is a great choice for this situation, where now he is going to be dancing around what Pyra has to offer. Again, now we see the swap to Mithra, trying to get a little bit more aggressive, using that speed to their advantage. Mithra is a guarantee. You will take a good amount of chip damage, but it's on the player to not get too flustered and find their opportunities after that character is taken off the screen, as both players are racking up a good amount of chip damage to start things off.
Yeah, and I want to be fair when I talk about this. The situation that I just put so much emphasis on that Shenandoah finds themselves in with that stock advantage, and then they are able to punish another team so heavily, this is arguably no different. I mean, these are both teams player number 2, but AJ ultimately does need to go into this game and take care of business, right? The last thing you need is to give the other team a reason to believe in a situation like this, right? It's okay if you lose a stock, maybe two, but I mean, you really want to go out and take this stock with relative ease. And so far, he has been looking pretty good. 120% now, finding the up throw there. I mean, you have to feel good so far. Again, if you're thinking down the line, this is more than just a one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, good on this Pyramithra player. Kashira is playing a very patient game right now. Not getting too jumpy while on the platform means that they're holding on to the stock for a little while longer. A parry from the Falco means that they will get a little bit more damage, but now these side specials are sending Pyro just a little too high for these back airs to connect, as they are at a crazy high percent. But we also have to talk about Rage, Chris. Rage has become such a big factor in these crew battles that you need to be careful, as a forward smash will be able to take that stock there.
Yeah, a bit of a panic spot dodge there from AJ, trying to survive that situation, stuck on the shield from his own jab. And now, with that first stock down, 165%, you need to take this stock like now. He's had a couple opportunities, come very close, just missed a couple grabs and a couple small hitbox offstage interactions have been well defended by Kashira here so far. There it is. Stock number 7 gone from New Jersey City University. As now Shenandoah with a 2 stock advantage. We'll find out who this third player is. Will it be that Lucas, or will we find out this mysterious 4th player on this roster?
Because not only did we just see this Pyramithra have an amazing performance of truly locking in and finding their opportunity, but this is also kind of the to-be-expected outcome. You expect to take one stock for either side when going into that. So if you're giving one, you can't be too flustered at this point. You have 2 stocks and you're getting the information that the team needs going forward. Who is this next play? Is it going to be this superstar, like you mentioned? Or are we going to see some wacko factor that we would not expect otherwise?
Yeah, and it's hard to say, but one thing that I do know for certain is that in the matchup we just watched, AJ looked very comfortable. Right? I mean, he was finding his hitboxes, finding his setups, and although they were coming a little late, right? You said it at such a high percentage, the side Bs weren't quite confirming, but he had the right idea more often than not. He was going for grabs that just weren't quite connecting. He was finding the side Bs and going for the back airs that just weren't quite connecting. But mentally, he was right there, right? He looks ready to play. It did not look like nerves got to him at all. You're right. You kind of expect to take one stock either direction, and I think that looked like a relatively normal matchup, and for that reason, I feel good about AJ going into now this 3rd player, no matter who it is.
And I also feel his level of understanding of this game is truly something to study. There were multiple times where Pyra was going for that side special where she throws the sword and spins in place for a while, and then they would go for the footstool afterwards. And AJ was taking the time to make sure that he was teching it in place, making sure that there was no fancy footstool combos afterwards. And Pyra was like sort of spacing it out type deal. But the one time they try to go for something more off of the footstool, AJ gets the tech in the right spot and gets the up smash to close out the stock. Sort of a pocket pick sort of situation where you're like, I have this in reserve if I need it. If my opponent is aware that I am going for this multiple times, then they shouldn't be going for anything too fancy on me. Like, I know the answer to this. But Pyramithra, playing a very patient game, but feeling the pressure after that first stock, tries to take that aggressive approach, saying, I need to take one more, bring my team back into this, right? That's the whole thing. It's not just in-game, there's a mental aspect too. And so they go for the aggressive option. It's a great call, especially when it works. But AJ had the reaction time and was able to close it out, gets the up smash. It was beautiful. I'm so happy we're watching this level of play, Chris.
I know. I can't stress it enough. These are, like, to have the wherewithal to even pick up on a small pattern like that, you don't even really think much about footstools, or at least I don't. When I'm playing, right, like, that's kind of a fluky thing when it happens. It's rare that you're intentionally footstooling someone. But to pick up on patterns like that only happens at the highest level of competition. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say that it's going to come down to the smallest things that separate these two teams. Little bits of preparation, little bits of game knowledge, little bits of pattern recognition that when these players can pick up on it, they know how to go out and take advantage of it. And I mean, these teams are going to be suffocating each other in terms of competition or like level of competition. It's a knife's edge separating these teams, but man, have the little things so far gone Shenandoah's way.
AJ as a player has really come a long way from what like when he first showed up to Shenandoah Esports as a Smash Bros player and has made his way up through the ranks, is now on the main roster. But to highlight a little bit about that, we're talking about this high, like, superstar Lucas or Steve player. AJ has had a shockingly good win rate against Sonic and Steve. This, admittedly, has been at in-person events. It was at Game Mason last year where we ran into a shockingly high amount, but he was ready each and every time. He had the answer for that. So I'm expecting either put the Steve away and send in something else, or send in this mysterious player. We're looking at the first, Chris. The Lucas is online, and we are on a small stage to boot.
Yeah, see, now this is interesting, because generally speaking, in crew battle strategy, you have your best player either first or last. And we, coming into today, had the general notion that the best player on this team was this Lucas, Smash Bros being his name on top of the name of the game. So this creates an interesting situation as, wow, finding the freeze right on the ledge. AJ can't quite mash out of it, and that's the skill we were talking about, right? This is a very strong player, and this is the types of interactions. Look at that! Finding so many, wow, neutral, the grabs in the middle of air, in mid-air, excuse me. I mean, this player is hot right now.
Yeah, and we're just seeing a bunch of very unique interactions. The PK Thunder combo was definitely a unique one that I have not experienced myself, as we do see the up special come out, but the Lucas down smash is just so powerful. It does so much, it covers such a big space. This character is, again, something that needs to be feared, something that needs to be respected, and we were just given the reason why.
Yeah, wow. That was very impressive. I mean, those were things that I have genuinely never seen from a Lucas. So, yeah, that's a really strong player. We knew that was going to be a really strong player. We know that this player has given us issues in the past. So, with a tie game, right, just like that, Lucas goes in, Smash Bros goes in, takes care of business. But here's the advantage of crew battles, right? We know who's in, and now we get to react. We get the counter pick, if you will. So, if you're Shenandoah, right, that was something to witness. Who do you think we put in to try to deal with that? Because there is still a player in reserve for New Jersey City.
Right. On the one hand, you do send in Igloo, and you got options, right? That's the nice thing that Igloo has going for him. You got either Dino Boy Yoshi or Bounty Hunter Samus. And there are benefits to both, whether you can play the matchup slow or you can really get in your opponent's face type deal. But on the other side of that, you could send in Willie. You could try to send him in early. I fear about sending him in on Kazuya because Lucas did a very good job of just controlling that space and really keeping the opponent off the stage. And while Kazuya doesn't have a bad recovery, there are points where it can kind of become almost linear in nature, and that Lucas had a very good grasp of what they needed to be doing at any given point. So if we do send in Willie, I wouldn't expect the Kazuya unless there's something about the matchup that he prefers.
Fair.
I would expect Mr. Bogard himself to make an appearance and really shake things up to try and bring that forward. Do you still have the recovery issue? Yes. But on the other side of that, you just have more generalized tools. You have much more that you can run away with. So there's so much on him. There's so much going for him on that. I'm still leaning more towards saving him as the anchor spot. And if he's put into that situation, give him the choice of the character for who he wants to deal with against this Lucas.
I think I agree with you, and we do have a bit of a preview in front of us. We have been given the information that the next player for Shenandoah will be Igloo on the Yoshi. So I'm going to throw it right back to you. How do you feel about that into a Lucas in general, and then specifically this Lucas, given what we just watched?
It's weird. As strange as that's going to say, coming from someone on the desk, this matchup is going to be weird for a lot of interactions. Lucas has multiple multi-hit moves as well as that projectile game. Yoshi has a double jump where he can just say no to whatever Lucas has going on. He is going to be able to, I think, double jump out of the PK Thunder, which is going to be a very critical part of this matchup. So as we hop onto the Hollow Bastion, I'm curious to see how this will go down.
Yeah, big moment here for both of these teams as we are now tied 6 stocks to 6 in both directions, and with 2 very strong players coming out for both schools. Look at the strings so far from this Lucas, man. It's controlling the stage. Avery struggling to get in, but finds his way back on stage. Man, this is overwhelming to watch, but little moments like that are going to be what you need to look out for. Some of those moves can leave you so vulnerable as Lucas, especially that PK freeze.
Yeah, look at how Igloo is going for these walk forwards into shield. That is going to be what really controls the pace of this match if this Lucas opts to keep going for these PK fires. As we do see a grab come out from the Lucas, get beat out by the jab, and a good down tilt means that Yoshi is sent off stage, having to use the double jump to go high. But again, the shields, making sure that they're getting very little value out of these PK fires beyond just a little bit of shield pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, just listen to these voice lines, right? This is the most textbook, like, irritating, oh, your friend next door plays one of the 2 Lucas Ness characters when they spam their stuff, but finding the grab off the platform, the up throw that is so strong, and a dash dance to boot means that Igloo now finds this spike immediately after, says, dash dance one more time, I dare you. Tie game once more.
Good lord. This Lucas player, don't get me wrong, they have every reason to be feeling good right now, but to be throwing a dash dance out, it feels like it's got to be a mental thing at this point. They're trying to get the opponent, trying to get Igloo to act rash early on, but right now he's still playing that shield game, as we do see another one of those Zares come out and really control, preventing Igloo from landing too close. And you can't really tell the difference either between that or that grab on the ground, which means that now it's a 50-50 on whether Igloo should be shielding or not in those sorts of situations. It's a dangerous game, but as the percentage builds up, we have seen just how well Igloo does in these sorts of pressure situations. The up throw not coming out just yet, as a good egg will get Igloo back onto the stage.
Yeah, these combos just feel a little bit longer for when Igloo is able to get in, right? We're seeing a lot of stray hits from Smash Bros here, racking up a lot of damage, but once Igloo gets in, they feel a little bit more deliberate, but in that situation, both players launch the opposite ways, but the higher percentage, unfortunately, will lose their stock, as now Igloo puts himself in a scary situation off stage, trying to build an advantage once more, but man, Smash Bros. In full control so far.
Yeah, I mean, look at just how much pressure they're exuding off of their boxing game. Yes, we were talking about the PK fires earlier, but this character can keep up with a lot of the face-to-face boxer-style characters, as a PK freeze will connect. Another one will, but it doesn't freeze at that point, and so you can't do chain PK freeze, as an egg does get good damage. Lucas using the fall-rolling forward air to get a little bit more damage going. Yoshi, no double jump, does get caught out by the forward tilt, and this player, again, is a beast to recognize.
Yeah, I'm shocked that double jump didn't grab the ledge. Igloo got caught on the platform there right before not the air dodge, but the interaction right before that.
Yeah.
I'm not grabbing the ledge, and unfortunately putting Igloo in a bad position, and then getting the 2-frame there on the next interaction means that Shenandoah now down 2 stocks with 1 player remaining. We expect to be Willie.
Right. And going back to that matchup, I think we saw sort of the game plan of what neutral looks like. That Lucas player is willing to sit there and do PK fire the entire time. And as much as a lot of people don't like it, if you are a good fighting game player, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it, you don't change your game plan. And it was working. Igloo then adapts, starts using his shield to get closer and closer, stuffing out the PK fires, and was able to get a little bit of chip damage going. Nothing, no crazy combos off of it, but getting the Lucas away from doing multiple PK fires. The Lucas then adapts, says, okay, if you're going to do one shield, then I'm going to start either jumping and going for my little snake, or I'm going to go for the snake on the ground. The reason why that's so dangerous is you have someone either holding shield on the ground, and they get grabbed if Lucas decided to do it on the ground, or if he's in the air, it stuffs out your jump, it stuffs out most other moves that you try to throw out, and Yoshi doesn't have the range to deal with it necessarily, besides like throwing an egg, and if you're at that range, you shouldn't be throwing the egg anyway. So it's like, it's a scary spot to be in.
You called it. It's weird. It's strange. It's hard to watch as a commentator because there's a lot going on in little moments like that. But now, with that behind us, though, we do know that Willie is the one player remaining for Shenandoah, and it looks like, be the Kazuya as the answer. So, with a character like that, Kazuya, I mean, we are preachers to this character and the amount of options overall that this character brings to the table, including range, right? That laser, among invincibility, among reflectors. So I'm curious, I mean, you mentioned it, you talked a little bit about before, right, with the recovery, but now, given what we know, given that we've seen this Lucas really play for more than 20 seconds, how do you feel about the Kazuya pick? How do you feel about Willie's Kazuya?
That's two different answers.
Those two are. Okay.
Because Kazuya on paper is a character that needs to get incredibly close and needs to get his damage going, and we're going up against a player who is willing to sit back, is willing to get his game plan going from a distance, and knows how to dance around the opponent. The laser is nice. Lucas has the side magnet. He can use the down B, and then he heals like 30 health from it. It's ridiculous, but like a great option, especially for this matchup. You can't use it all the time. The only reason why I'm excited to see this beyond any other Kazuya player is because Willie has shocked me so many times before. If there is something that either he sees, he's picking up on, or he wants to take advantage of, and is going to make a show as we see the man crouch dash and get these electrics online.
Yeah, this is where you need to be careful of against this scary demon man on your screen. Look at these interactions, though, where this Lucas is not out of it. And sure enough, those types of strings can get so overwhelming so quick. 60% already as Willie tries to find his way back on stage. And here come those electrics, right? Such a safe move into shields like that. Into raw misses, looking for a forward smash, trying to take cheeky stocks, but he will get punished for it quickly. Man, Smash Bros. Putting the pressure on so far, and Willie now down to 2 stocks, needs to take these 2 as well as another player beyond this.
Yeah, and these down tilts are getting so much mileage right now, where Lucas is really going for these options to just keep Kazuya from going for these spot dodges, but the spot dodge is what can often get Willie so much value as the up smash comes out, but it won't be enough just yet. Lucas going for the air dodge is not going to lose the stock just yet. A sour nair from Kazuya will get a little bit more damage as a down B comes out and should take that stock, as it is 2 stocks to 1. This Lucas player has done so much for the NJCU team. I am curious to see if they will close it out or struggle, as another great setup into the back air is going to close out that stock.
Okay, 1 stock remaining is all he needs, right? 4 stocks still for this NJCU, but as long as he's got 1, he's still a threat. Willie now looking to find his way back into this, finds another stun there. No. That could be death, but well-timed air dodge there will avoid the up B now. 106% for this Lucas, and Willie with 1 task ahead of him. I'm such a preacher of looking ahead, right? Not forgetting that this is a team game, but in a moment like this, I can't help but feel like you need to focus on what's in front of you, and that is this 1 stock right in front of your hands. 80% is scary for Willie, as now these multi-hits are starting to come out. Willie finding his way in, but just quite unable to really find the hits that he needs once he's there. The kill button is online, and that would undeniably kill at this range, but a well-timed air dodge there gets away from the down B, as now both of these players look to finish the job however they can.
Oh, geez, Scary Demon Man is able to use the armor and armor through a PK fire, but it's not enough this time around. The Lucas was doing a good job at the end, again, of spacing around this character. He's such a dangerous force to be reckoned with. We talk about it every time this Kazuya is here. He just commands respect. But the Lucas had the game plan ready to rock and roll. Smash Bros? There's a reason he's named it. He's got the game locked down right now. It's going to be on Shenandoah's players. Can they find the cracks in this armor? What sort of game plan do they need to change? Or is it as simple as just a stage change? As we saw some pretty crazy setups from that Lucas player to close out those Kazuya stocks.
Yeah, I mean, that was very intimidating to watch. And, you know, we talk about pressure. We talk about players exuding pressure in so many different ways. But, I mean, that was something to behold, right? That's a rare character pick and rare interactions that we don't see very often, and I'm sure correlates to the players, right? It's little things like that when you get into the lesser picked characters creates uncomfortable situations in pressure moments like these, right? It's certainly something to have to figure out, right? That's not going to go away because I believe that Lucas just took 8 stocks, I think. Right? I mean, that's scary. And Shenandoah took an early lead, right? Found their way into this series exactly how they needed to. But the big thing that I don't want to forget about is that we did not see that 4th player still.
Right.
So we don't know what is beyond this Lucas. I talked a little bit about the strategy of having your anchor last and thinking that maybe that was their anchor, but it's truly possible that there is another player just as good, if not better, sitting behind that Lucas.
And that's so incredibly intimidating. There's a part of me that wants to believe that that player was sent in more as an equalizer to try and bring some momentum back and get them back into this game. I think that Lucas player got more value than they were expecting. And so now it's going to be, do you swap up your game plan? 90% of the time we are on this desk, the winning side does not change how they send in their players. But this feels different. Not only did Shenandoah have the lead starting this round, Pac-Man is just such a beast to behold, and that Joker, yes, they went blow for blow, but it seemed like Kip had some sort of answer going into that last bit. And if that is your only problematic side of things, do you send in that Lucas to start things off, remove the Pac-Man, and then have your team deal with the rest? There's so much that could go into this.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, right? You're right. We haven't seen winning teams change their strategies too often, and I'm just not sure because, like, that Lucas is the hurdle, right? The first 2 players, as much as I preach that these teams are so close, Shenandoah did take care of business, right? In those first 2 players, the Pyramithra and the Joker could not get it done against either of our first two players. So you have to look beyond that. You have to look at the mystery, right? And it sucks because we don't know who that is, but I imagine we will find out soon. It does look like we are going to take a quick break here. So, okay, excuse me, never break. We don't break here because we are going to ride this out. So we will await the results of this next player. We'll let you know as soon as we find out, but I don't know, man. I mean, it's a tough situation for Shenandoah after starting that strong and then coming out with a loss and 4 stocks still ahead of you.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the blow for blow on this side of things, I completely forgot about that first stock and how that played out. Frankly, with it playing out that way, I wouldn't be surprised if this matchup did fall a little bit more into Kip's hand. But we also saw adaptations from both sides. That is something I do want to give kudos for. Sometimes players only adapt like once, maybe twice in a battle, and then they just start brute forcing whatever option they feel like. This felt like from every player involved, there were levels of adaptation, just levels to really bring that momentum back into either side's sail. So I am so curious to see how, like, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I don't either. And that's why we're up here and not in the seats behind us, right? That is for the pros to figure out. But I mean, if we look back at these replays, I mean, there was a lot to be happy about if you're Shenandoah. You really can't feel too bad about how this first set played out because, I mean, look at the control that Kip was able to set, the tone that Kip was able to set to start the series off, taking 5 stocks before ultimately going down to Kashira. And then AJ coming in with the task of getting rid of that 7th stock, or I guess that 6th stock for NJCU. I mean, the momentum was there, right? I mean, this looked great, and if it's me out there, I feel like you can't help but think that you just want another shot at it, right? I don't think you want to change much because it didn't look bad. This player is just extremely sound.
Yeah, I mean, look at that setup. They got the PK Thunder going, trying to get rid of the options out of that Falco, and then they got the final down smash to close things out, really exhausting the options that players have off stage. So, looking back at this player, and while Igloo was able to close out that stock with a beautiful dunk, it still was a lot. It's not easy to get close. A couple of rolls like that, and again, the Lucas walking forward, going for the shield instead, goes for the forward air, and then that KO's center stage against that Dino, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, there were so many setups and interactions that this Lucas had that were very impressive to watch. And I think one of the big difference makers, though, is going to be little moments like this from Willie. A few too many times, and I think it was twice, that he got punished by that interaction, standing too close to the ledge and then getting killed for it. So from our best player, those little moments matter a lot, right? Those stocks cannot be lost to interactions like that. And so, I mean, we see it on your screen again, right? That was a telling tale of how last series went. But as we load into our set number 2 here, NJCU with a lead now, and we do adapt the strategy here from Winchester. AJ going in first to represent the Shenandoah Hornets in set number 2.
Yeah, change-ups from both sides. The Joker was sending first last time, so now we have a Pyra Mithra Falco matchup that we only got to see a little bit of last time around, as this Pyra is already racking up the damage and is playing a very different game from what we saw before, but AJ getting a little bit of control, and those are the opportunities that could really make or break how this sort of match goes. Look at the drag down there, trying to get a little bit more follow-up as Pyra is able to air dodge out, and is just throwing out these aerials that could take a stock even now.
Yeah, and this matchup in set number 1 looked extremely even. We only got to watch a little bit of it because the Pyra Mithra only had 1 stock coming into it. So, as we see these players with full stocks, right, 12-12, fresh slate, this is probably going to be really close, and so far it has been. But AJ finding the punish off the ledge, right, this Pyra Mithra forced to find their way back to stage once more, but right into the waiting hands of AJ as he finds his nair from the stage, and Pyra Mithra misses the ledge.
This is a very big moment because AJ has been showing his comfortability off stage. He can keep this pressure going as Pyra is just feeling how much value this Falco can get. One good laser means that AJ will get a little bit of percentage to start things off, but now the Mithra is online. And again, we've seen this player prefers to stay on the Pyra for a while, which means if they're sitting on the Mithra, they're just trying to get that damage going, and they think they could close out these stocks quickly.
Oh, wow. I wasn't sure if they were going to make it back to that. I thought that might be an even bigger moment there, but they do make it back to stage, so we are right back into a neutral state as both of these players, again, like you said, just racking up damage on each other. No, nothing crazy here. Little combos going both directions. So far, Kashira coming out on top of most of them, but AJ certainly not out of it as trying to just maintain this stage control, right? Left and right, back and forth, fighting over this Pokemon Stadium as now, wow, gets caught on the ledge during his side B, and AJ will lose that second stock a little bit earlier than last time.
Yeah, very well played to start things off. This Pyra Mithra player staying on the Mithra for so long, you almost forget that the option is there, and yet they go for that up special. And again, close out stocks so incredibly early. So now AJ taking the moment to sit back, taking a deep breath, trying to find his opportunity to close this out as they swap back and forth between the Mithra, and they're starting to realize Kashira is getting so much value out of this character as opposed to what the Mithra was offering before. Look at the little bit of damage buildup. They only need that Pyra for the damage buildup at the end, and so now they walk away with the lead to start things off. 2 stocks in hand.
Yeah, it's the side B comes out just a little too late there from AJ, as I imagine he was looking too up B to the stage to try to switch up his recovery. Can't quite make it to the ledge, and now this is the opposite story from set number 1, right? SU comes out on top to start set number 1, but now not only does NJCU come out on top in set number 2, they're up 2 stocks now as Shenandoah is forced to put in their second player and task them with getting extra credit.
Yeah, it's a worrying spot to be in, but not one unfamiliar to this roster. All of these players have been in these sorts of situations. I do think it has been a while, though. I think it's going to be on them to sort of take that moment, reminisce on where they've been before, and understand that this is, yes, a high pressure situation, but the game is still the same. You can find your opportunities, your openings. It's those little interactions, Chris, that can make all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, little things are big things in a level of competition that we're watching right now. And you're right, Shenandoah has been in these situations before. These players have been in these situations before. These are not new players. These players have competed for years with an S on the end, years, both at our school and on their own, outside of school competition before they even got to college. They were competing in Super Smash Bros. So they know what it's like to be down. This team does have 2 losses, right? This is a sort of gritty team that can come back from uncomfortable situations, and they know that just as much as we do. So as we await player number 2 from Shenandoah, I certainly hope that the people behind us are keeping that in mind.
Yeah, so as we hop into this game in just a little bit, I want to address what we saw before. When things started off, it was Kip leading off with that relatively close matchup, getting things going, but then we got to see a little bit more of that, where Kip took 2 stocks off of a Pyramithra player and then got knocked out by a stray Nair. If, with that knowledge in mind, assuming that the matchup will play out relatively the same, this could be a great opportunity to send in Kip, but we have seen again, it becomes a little bit more hazy when all of these players are so adaptable.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to expect at this level of competition, right? We've said it so many times, but that truly is the focal point of this matchup. These are incredible players, incredible teams, and they're going to be able, to adapt to anything, right? Whatever is thrown at them. Now, whether it's a successful adaptation or not will be determined by the result of this series, but these players are not locked into a certain playstyle, right? That's what gatekeeps bad players from getting to the next level. These players are well beyond that hurdle, that hill that so many Smash players can struggle to get over. So you're right. I mean, it's scary putting in a player like that, like Kip, for that reason. But I think now that Kip was not our first option, that inherently, I mean, I'm no mathematician, but that leaves us with less options, right? And I think that if it's between Kip and Igloo, I do think you put in Kip for the reason you said, right? We just saw Kip take 2 stocks off this Pyramithra relatively handedly, and almost 3 without losing that stock until, you said it, a stray Nair mid-combo finds the kill off the top.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think sending in Kip next means that you could potentially draw this Lucas out early.
Yeah.
I think because of how that matchup played out against the Joker, it's relatively 50-50 where both sides were going back and forth, but Kip did walk away with that win. Do you send Joker back in assuming that he can close that out, or does it play out very similar to last time and then you're not throwing away a player, but effectively getting rid of one?
Yeah, and I mean, I do want to think back to the first matchup of set number 1. The Joker against the Pac-Man was actually really close. Like, that did come down to that stray apple mid-stage that caught us all off guard. So that's an interesting point. Like, does it pull out the Lucas early? I don't know if it does, because then you kind of do leave yourself exposed if you're NJCU and you get a matchup that hasn't been played yet compared to one that has and that was extremely close. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but ultimately we need to get there first, right? Whoever this Shenandoah player number 2 will be needs to take out this Pirate Mithra without falling too far behind before we really start looking ahead. And sure enough, we are preparing to load into our next matchup, and the answer is correct. Kip will be player number 2 for Shenandoah as we show you on your screen the matchup that is coming up next. 11 stocks still remaining for New Jersey City as Shenandoah looks to claw back from a 2-stock deficit.
Yeah, Kashira is going to lose that one to start things off, but again, I'm curious how they will play this matchup. We saw the swap to the Mithra for a majority of that matchup, but now you're dealing with a character who has so many projectiles and stuff like that. And again, we're starting to see a little bit more Pyra to start things off, which shocks me because I feel like you would want that speed in your back pocket, but clearly these down airs into the up tilt are going to build the damage either way as they are adding just so much value to start things off.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, this Pirate Mithra so far has kind of looked like a different player from set number 1, right? A lot of the struggles that we saw them have to endure in the first set have kind of gone away, right? This is a much more fluid Pirate Mithra, switching between the two forms, like you said, finding advantages from both forms, and now finding an advantage over Kip, right? 89% and off stage is this Pac-Man, but leaving herself exposed as Pyra, as she now almost catches a bell to the face on that interaction, will sit in the shield, and Kip finds the read. The roll right into the ghost means that this is now a 1-stock game, and if Kip is able to take this stock quickly, that would be a big deal for Shenandoah.
Oh yeah, I love those sorts of interactions where both players take a moment to breathe and are aware that neither side can really get too much off of whatever is going on. But it's what happens after that really tends to be the difference maker. So Pyra, seeing the bell, opting for the roll-in, immediately gets punished as Kip is going for the Galagas and walking away. Notice how he does not want to get close to that character. Pyra can close a stock just like that, so these little bits of damage from the Galagas or the fruits could be enough to just keep building that percentage up until the stock is his.
Yeah, you really have to think Pirate Mithra is one of the most the most well-rounded characters in the game. The forward smash won't quite connect, but like I said, Pirate Mithra is one of the most well-rounded characters in the game. What are they missing? Range. That is the thing that Kip has now been using to his advantage, and all of a sudden Pirate Mithra up to 114%. I mean, again, this would be colossal if Kip is able to take this stock, but we can't get ahead of ourselves as now Kip looks to find a bell center stage. The bell is out onto the hydrant. Little interactions going both ways, right? This is razor close, but man, either player could go down at any minute here, Kev.
Yeah, careful of the hydrant. It goes flying as Pyra is sent off stage, and a bell is now charged as Pyra goes for a side special. The bell is thrown a second time, which means that it will be dudded, but Mithra is swapped out this time, not to close out the stock necessarily, trying to get Kip back off stage as the side special comes out and just keeps building up this damage on the Pac-Man. It won't be enough to close it out just yet, but now Kip gets a bell off stage, and Pyra is willing to just sit there and keep throwing out the side special.
Yeah, and you have to think, like, we are getting excited here up on stage. Wow! Because Kip has an opportunity to tie it up, and sure enough, he will. Man, okay. I mean, Exhibit B of what Kip is able to do to an Aegis. Takes 2 stocks without losing any, and we have a tie game once again. That's okay. That's a big deal. An aggressive option from the Aegis. I'm not even sure if that was intentional. Could that have worked?
You know what it was?
What?
I think they solo main Pyra.
Really?
I think they tried to throw out Pyra's side special, not realizing that they were on Mithra, and flung themselves off of the stage, not realizing. Because they stick on... Please understand, for those of you at home who may not follow the scene as closely, it is truly 50-50 when you play that character on, if not a little bit more lenient towards Mithra, when you play them at this high level. It is you use Mithra to build the damage, and then you either find your opportunity for a hard call out, or they're at a high enough percent that just about anything Mithra or Pyra has knocks out the opponent. But there are favorites. I get it. Believe me, I do. I was a Pyra person when I played Xenoblade. Like, you like, if you are in the habit of that, but you know that your option is like, oh, I need to be using Mithra, otherwise I'm not going to be able to help. And then you're used to that muscle memory when it matters most. It crumbles around you. And one little interaction like that, if Mithra was on stage, she would have just like stayed on the ledge. If you side special before the ledge, you carry yourself only to the ledge, no further. She went off, so it was either a hard flick or she was expecting to use the Pyra side special and instead flung herself into the blast.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard for us to speculate, right? The only people who know would be the people sitting in that NJCU room, but I think you might be onto something, right? That was an aggressive option that ultimately did not pay off, and now we are more or less, in an indirect way, back where we were in set number 1, right? I think that probably Joker comes out next for NJCU, but you did raise a good point. There's an argument to be made for Lucas into the Pac-Man. I'm not necessarily the Smash analyst between us, but in my opinion, I think that's a bit of a risky option, and it leaves you a little bit more vulnerable than putting the Joker out and having them two go at it again, because that was so close the first time around.
And I feel like you can't be risky at this point. Yeah. If this Aegis player maybe took one or two stocks off of Kip, maybe then you do play a little bit risky. Send in the Lucas, close it out type deal.
Yeah.
But Kip has all 3 stocks. We are, in terms of stocks, even.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because, like, the Lucas did just take, again, plus or minus 1, I believe 8 stocks.
8 stocks.
Last set. So with 9 stocks remaining, you kind of have to keep that in mind, because the only player so far that Lucas did not go up against and deal with relatively soundly was Kip.
Right.
So if you're looking to get aggressive by putting the Lucas into the one player that you're not sure will be successful, I just don't think makes sense to me. And so we will get information on our little preview
Chris.
screen as we take you into player number 2 against player number 2. Surprise! It's someone we have not seen yet.
Hero against Pac-Man. A very interesting matchup where both players will probably sit back and try to get their game plans going. The other thing that can be very concerning for this matchup, as much as I think Kip will have a lot going for him, Hero can have access to bounce, which is such a dangerous ability when dealing with the Pac-Man. So while this is the first time we're seeing this Hero player go for the menu options, I am expecting a little bit more aggressive play as they do start going for these forward smashes a little bit early and are trying to almost close out these stocks as quickly as they can. As I also just realized their name is Curbman. That's my guy.
My guy, he says, but wow.
Oh, my guy is gone. Oh, no. He's in the blast zone.
Yeah, our other guy finds a successful interaction there, finding the forward smash and taking the early stock, only taking 48%. This is an opportunity for Shenandoah to build a serious lead. And this now, if you're Shenandoah, again, no matter what the result, this is a big weight off your shoulders, knowing who's left, who was sitting behind that Lucas before, feels great. So we will see how much of an advantage Shenandoah is able to build, or if Curbman is able to bounce back from this pretty significant early deficit. As, I mean, they are finding their way back, but with that reflector, that's going to be the thing to keep an eye out for against Pac-Man.
Yeah, the bounce is online, and Hero is cycling through the menu, trying to look for something, goes for the heal, and gets the grab to follow up. Won't be too much to make a difference, as now the bounce is offline. Kip can continue his game plan as Hero is cycling through that menu. Again, just trying to find the bounces.
Yeah, Hero playing around that hydrant very well and catching Kip a little off guard. And again, this Hero has kind of been sitting in the menus for quite a while as they do find themselves stunned, but Kip unable to punish off of it and gets punished himself, as now he does find the stun after losing his stock, takes 1 stock in return. Again, a full stock advantage for Kip, and we'll see if he's able to maintain this into something even more, but 100 MP means that this Hero will be able to recover from just about anywhere, so something to keep an eye out for. But I wasn't sure if he had his jump there, but almost stunned there on the ledge. Well timed there by the hero to make it back. Now, using a lot of that mana, throwing out a lot of spells against Kip, trying to just get back on stage. The up smash can't quite finish it now as this hero is psyched up literally. Kip with a bell in hand looking to finish it, and he finds the stun once more, untouched in that second stock, as now he creates a 2-stock advantage for Shenandoah. That man on your screen is a bad man.
Yeah, walking away with the JV3 in hand, Kip really making himself known. I love the idea that if you're going to send in another player, because that Joker matchup was a little shaky until, or like it was so close until the end, well, we do have another player, and it is a player that can cause problems for Pac-Man. At the Game Mason tournament, Kip was telling me stories of heroes who got 6, 7, 8 bounces in one round. That's absurd, Chris. And so if that happened now in playoffs, that it would be that's evil, Chris.
Yeah.
That's like a whole different type of evil. But Kip does walk away with 2 stocks in hand, and so now you got Joker, who was relatively even, but had that shaky bit. Does he have the answer to adapt to what Kip had going near the end, or do you send out the Lucas?
Yeah, this is, I really am mixed right now. My emotions are very conflicted because you said it. This hero, if nothing else, created an advantage for Joker to now go into the same exact matchup where he barely lost with a full stock advantage. That's a big deal.
Right.
And with that said, though, there's only 2 players left for NJCU, and we assume rather confidently that it's going to be the Joker and the Lucas. Probably in that order. Probably. So, Shenandoah, although maybe in a disadvantage into this upcoming matchup, still has the advantage in terms of stocks, in terms of players, in terms of options. I'm conflicted, Kevin, because we just watched Lucas take 8 stocks off of our players. So you can't help but feel like even though we're up in stocks, knowing that that's coming, you can't get confident, you can't feel great about where you're at just yet.
Yeah, but the other side of that is that those 8 stocks were taken without Kip in mind.
That's true.
2 of those stocks were taken off of AJ, off of recovery situations that Falco can't do much about.
Yeah.
Pac-Man seems to make it back from wherever he's from.
Literally.
And so you got that as a factor, but also hearing Willie in the background talk about that Lucas player just a little bit, I am noticing that he is not flustered. He's very ready and also kind of brushed off the 2 interactions of those spikes that we saw, where he's like, hey, good on you. The first one I wasn't ready for. The second one, I didn't think you would do it again type deal. Now you have earned my respect. Let's play real Smash Bros.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So with all of that, do you try to send in that Lucas now and try to see if he can deal with this Pac-Man? Do you send in the Joker to close it out? I think you do send in that Joker. Try to get rid of this Pac-Man and get rid of that factor that you don't have control over, because if you can remove that, then it should, on paper, play out exactly how it did before, but in practice, this game changes a lot.
Exactly. That's the $1 million question, isn't it? We can sit here and say what should happen all day, and 100 times out of 100 times, we could be wrong. Like, at the end of the day, it comes down to these players and those players doing what they need to do, going out and executing. I've said it all year long. Execution is ultimately what matters. I don't want to say the only thing that matters, but nothing else matters if you can't execute. So, we are receiving word from our production team that the answer to Shenandoah's remaining stocks for now will be Rampage on the Joker.
Yes, the Rampage continues, and a matchup that we saw earlier will rear its head once again. I am so curious how this is going to play out, because when we first saw this Joker, we were harping on the Rebels Guard and like how that is suddenly becoming a very real factor of Smash Bros. Ultimate
Just in
once
the space.
again.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, you have this player who didn't use it too much, but made such incredible value out of his Arsens. It's worrying, but also playable, as Kip uses the taunt, gets the one in whatever chance of pulling out a Heihachi, and is definitely feeling good as all of the players are starting to feel good behind us. The Galaga is online. Joker is already eating a little bit of percent, but look how already this Joker is starting to dance around. But he almost seems to be playing a little bit more patient than last time.
Yeah, this looks like very different playstyles from both of these characters, because Kip knows that he needs to be protective of his stocks, maybe a little bit more protective than he was in the first set, as now we do see Arsene come out for Rampage, and this is where you need it to be. If you're going to be protective of your stocks, it needs to be right now. We see Arsene now under half HP, but maybe if you don't need to be protective, you can be aggressive. Maybe the best form of defense is offense, as Kip, standing right on the ledge, finds the roll read, the stun with Bell in hand, and finds the stock. This game is effectively tied. This matchup is effectively tied.
Yeah, Chris, we saw this Joker player the last time around was very good at catching the options, the different fruit that Kip had available. And there were multiple times where Kip would have to walk away because Joker was catching bells. That time around, he sits on the ledge very deliberately, trying to get the Joker to roll, and he does. He's not able to catch the bell, and that evens out the stock count already. A very good parry to start things off here means that now he's just sort of in the zone. Chris, look at the damage buildup. Arsene is almost gone.
Yeah, and this is looking like a return to form from set number 1 out of Rampage. The aggression from when Kip is rolling his fruits has returned. When Kip is rolling the fruits, the Joker runs straight at him, and it's bit him a couple times. I do think that Rampage is starting to feel a little bit of that pressure, because Kip has only taken 78% in the minute that we've been in this game, and that's scary compared to how set number 1 went. These two players were very evenly matched, but so far, Kip has been in full control. Now, looking to finish stock number 2 off this Joker, that could be a huge deal, as the Hydrant finds him in an uncomfortable situation. The back air will finish the job, and once again, Kip finding the advantage he needs. 90% might be able to take another one here, depending on how this goes.
Now we do see Pac-Man making it back to the ledge again, and this is what I was worried about, Chris. I don't think it was not necessarily a patient game from this Joker because he was going in with the 3 stocks. I think it was also because he just saw his teammate, the hero, get truly a warm welcome from the Pac God himself, and it's just becoming so dangerous. Now this Joker is starting to lock in and realize, wait, I can't be afraid. I need to be in this Pac-Man's face, and is getting the value because of it. So now, as he makes it back, the trampoline in use, Kip is going to be able to get back onto the stage using the down air to create a little bit more space, as a Galaga is charged right now.
Yeah, and a big trend I've noticed through both sets is how much Rampage likes to catch the projectiles from Kip. It's definitely something that you don't love to see if you are the Pac-Man player, right? That's about as uncomfortable as you can get, seeing somebody catch your bullet. But
Right.
we've not seen it bite Kip too many times just yet, and the up smash won't land, now 80%, and Arsene still just a little ways away. Is not where you'd like to be if you are this Joker, but finding a grab now up to 160% as Kip forced to try to recover, still will find the trampoline, gets back onto stage. 160%. Arsene is very close to coming out, though, and that could be the difference. If he will come out,
way.
but he won't!
No
The down
way.
tilt through the hydrant, not enough, right into Kip's hands. Kip will 3-stock the Joker that he played so close set number 1, and now with 1 player remaining and 8 stocks ahead of him, NJCU will be forced to send out their last resort.
Oh man, Chris, how does this happen? We see Kip truly find for the first time an opponent who was able to go blow for blow against him. So many times have we seen this Pac-Man take full cruise on his own, and this time around there's someone who is able to match it. It feels like a David Goliath situation. Both of them going back and forth, blow for blow, and yet, the second time around, Kip found his answer from the first time, and runs away with it. The mental game at the start, the Joker playing way too safe, but then suddenly falling back on that aggressive side of things and getting called out again like he did with the apple. It works, yes, but you need to mix up your options. And this time around, it wasn't enough mix-up, and Kip walks away very happy.
No, absolutely. And this team, okay, this set is not over, and it's frankly so far from over. There's a massive problem child still left to deal with. But I want to take a moment to appreciate what this team just went through. If facing elimination, right? If they lose this series, their NECC competition is over. Down 0-1 and losing the first matchup with 2 stocks remaining, right? Going into player number 2, down 11-9. Shenandoah is on a, let's see, 11 minus 3 is 8-1 run after that situation. I mean, we talked about having to sort of keep your mind cold, keeping your blood cold in moments like this. That's what's been on display so far. I could not be more proud that this team just put themselves in this situation now, but with all that said, none of it matters unless they can take care of the one player left in front of them.
A Lucas player or a Steve player.
Yeah.
And this
Whoa.
is a dangerous factor of everything we have seen so far. This Lucas did phenomenal against 2 players that Shenandoah has left. But I don't know how that matchup works for Pac-Man.
I don't either.
If I do know that the Steve matchup does work better against Pac-Man, but I know a Yoshi and a Kazuya who have way too much experience against that character. The pressure is building on this anchor like crazy. Smash Bros is feeling it right now, and so it's on him to make this choice. You're locked in for the long haul. Who do you send to deal with these 3 beasts of players?
Yeah, I don't know, because, okay, if you're Shenandoah, you have to think what we talked about in set number 1. Know your job and go out there and do your job. None of these players should feel like they are tasked with taking all 3 stocks off this Lucas. Any amount of damage you can deal, any amount of, or I shouldn't say damage you can deal, any amount of stocks you can take is worth diamonds in this situation, because we expect this Lucas to find his way through probably multiple players. So any amount of progress you can build, any amount of advantage you can find, even if you're not the one playing, you have to be zeroed in on this game of figuring out whatever you can learn to go out there and do your job, because your job is to take 3 stocks between the 3 of you.
It shouldn't sound like a tall ask, Chris.
It shouldn't.
And yet, we saw.
Yeah.
We saw what this player is capable of. But we also saw that Igloo and Willie were able to close out stock. Take something. Get a little bit of that guarantee. So if this is going to play out how it played out the last time around, it may fall on Kip to do just a little bit more. Get that one last stock. It's such a tall order. It is no one's right to ask Kip to do that. And yet, if he can lock in and take 1, it all can fall back into Shenandoah's favor.
I totally agree. I think the difference between going into player number 2, and I hate writing Kip off like this. Kip has a shot to go in there and take 3 stocks. I'm not ruling that out. But the difference between going into player number 3 for us with this Lucas having 2 or 3 stocks is monumental. That's a massive deal, and it like you said, it shouldn't be, but it is, and we cannot deny that. So the situation is laid out in front of us. The blueprint is there. Can Shenandoah go out and do it? We will find out. We are loading in as Smash Bros has entered the lobby. This Lucas makes his return to this crew battle series, taking 8 stocks his first time around and 8 stocks ahead of him. Shenandoah with their NECC season on the line. Can they take out Smash Bros, or will NJCU be moving on to face William & Mary?
Yeah, so already starting things off, 2 PK fires is enough to take out a fire hydrant. Keep that in mind, as Kip is usually able to get setups going off of opponent's damage. So it will be a lot of dancing around what this hydrant has to offer, as well as these nairs. Both players getting a lot of value off of dancing around each other and clanking with the hydrant as well, making sure it's not getting nearly as much value, as already Kip is looking for the KO and is just getting that damage online.
Yeah, and a little pattern I've noticed as well, too. This Lucas is landing the one PK fire onto the hydrant, and then both players are running toward the hydrant to get the next hit on it. And, I mean, that time, the Smash Bros. Opting to jump over it. A good little mix-up there as now Kip finds himself off stage. Here come those recovery moments that we talked a little bit about. Oh, wow! He goes down and takes the trampoline. That is something we hadn't considered. Lucas's recovery is very strong as well. He can go down and interrupt the trampoline momentum.
What? He's traded with the bell, Chris. I mean, Lucas is already in an awkward spot, and now he's at 103. Kip is still a fresh stock in hand, and remember what we are asking of this player. If Kip can take one, the momentum feels very good for Shenandoah, so keep your eye on the percentages and making sure that either player can find that last hit.
Yeah, as we see Kip trying to find his way in, eating the PK fires so far. Those PK freezes, one more offstage interaction here, not far enough down just yet, but again, those little down tilts as Kip finds his way back to stage there, almost 2-framed again. The down tilts are so scary, but Kip finds his way back once more, finding the ledge, getting the get-up attack off of the Lucas, and now he is back on stage, finds the grab in the back throw, and will take a stock. That is a big deal. So, Kip now only tasked with one thing. Whatever you can get, we'll take.
Right.
Kip up to 120%. This Lucas, 2 stocks remaining, zoning as well as he does, trying to just put this away, get the Pac-Man off your screen. Can he do it? We shall see.
Yeah, and then we noticed that the game pace slows down a little bit. Kip didn't take the stock and then say, well, that's it, and go off. He's trying to get that extra value, as the Lucas is using the water of the fire hydrant to get a little bit more momentum going. The bell is online, and Kip is at 121. It won't take anything just yet, as he goes for a crazy setup that could have gotten massive damage for what all he is getting, as Lucas gets a little bit more damage going. He opts for the jump away off of the hit confirm, instead thinking it may not all connect, trying to create that space, goes for the PK fire, and that one will be enough, as Kip is knocked out, but Smash Bros has 2 stocks remaining.
Okay, it's so hard to talk about an opposing player the way that we are talking about this Lucas. With 2 stocks remaining, it's still very intimidating, but much better than 3, right? 1 stock on this player so far seems to be worth so much more than probably any stock Shenandoah has taken all season long. That's a huge deal, and well executed out of Kip, finding his window, finding his combos, and being patient, not giving up after losing his first stock, right? Settling in, finding the answer, and capitalizing. That is what SU needed, and now 2 more players need to do exactly that. Right. It's not easy. It will not be easy at all. 2 stocks remaining for this player feels like a mountain to climb, but feels just a little bit more doable than last time.
And the nice thing is, both of these remaining Shenandoah players have gone into this matchup already against this very player. They had answers of sorts to what this Lucas was doing. But make no mistake, this player was controlling the tempo of that match. For Igloo, a lot of this matchup came down to the 50-50s after he walked up and shielded a PK fire. It was, did the Lucas jump and then go for something, or did he just go up and grab? That 50-50 is what can decide the tempo. Igloo needs to win just a couple of those interactions. He needs to win those coin flips. And as horrible as it sounds, that for a coin flip, there's a mental game associated with it. You can get reads on your opponent, but there's only 2 options. It's going to be on him to pick the right one.
Yeah, and okay, a couple things just crossed my mind. One, real quick, is there literally any shot we see Samus come out right now?
You could.
Like, does that make sense though? Like with the Yoshi double jump that we talked about, those interactions are going to matter a lot from the multi-hits out of this Lucas.
I wouldn't like it just because the Samus or the Lucas reflector thing. I think each charge shot would heal like 50,
right?
Which is gross.
Yeah.
Can you imagine putting in all that work only for it to be taken away in an instant? That would be awful. So we will see the Yoshi this time around. Smash Bros. Going to take down one stock, and we're back on Kalos. Friendly reminder, the last time we saw this player on this stage, we saw some really funky setups. And so I'm a little worried with how this may play out, but Igloo already taking the aggression.
Yeah, you have to be conscious of getting too close to the ledge, because that is what we saw bite Willie twice in the first set. So Igloo tasked once more with getting just whatever you can off this player, right? SU still has the stock advantage, and you need to be conscious of that as the PK freeze almost lands. The spike will land from Igloo as he's racking up some serious percent. The tempo set from the first set, the tempo set by this Lucas last time these two players went up against each other, we have not seen just yet. I mean, Igloo is commanding this matchup so far.
What am I seeing? Chris, this Lucas feels different because he's playing a little bit closer to this Yoshi than we saw in the past. There's that double jump coming into play, able to get out of the little bit of down tilt to forward tilt setup this Lucas usually goes for. Still eating the percent, yes, but nothing more. Not taking the stock back, not going to lose that stock. And so Igloo is going to eat a forward air, and that does mean that he will lose that stock. But this Lucas is at 113%.
Yeah, if Igloo is able to take the stock, I suddenly feel like a lot better about what we're watching, because this, again, feels, I mean, you said it, like a different player. This has been very interesting to watch so far, but now we are seeing a bit more of a return to form as Igloo is able to recover from that one. 134% on this Lucas as he catches it back air. You got to be careful of that one, as now Igloo almost finds another back air. It will be shielded, and now have to be careful getting that close to the ledge. We know what this player is capable of in situations like that.
Yeah, here comes the PK freeze. Igloo opting to go high, is able to get back onto center stage, which means that now no interaction will be able to close it out unless we see some real crazy setup come out from this Lucas. But a good up air means that Smash Bros. Loses another stock, and Igloo is keeping up relatively well with this player.
Yeah, now Igloo has a serious shot to put this away. I mean, like, I hate to, you know, put that on Igloo because you do have another player in reserve, but now you have nothing to lose, right? The only thing to get done, no matter how much percentage you rack up, if you lose these two stocks, it will not matter. As he is able to find an interaction.
No way! He is able to make it back! What in the world, Chris?
Lucas has an insane recovery. That was incredible. I really did not think he would be able to make it back from that, but it's behind us, right? And all it is more percentage racked up for Igloo if he's able to take this stock. And I was saying before, ultimately, no matter how much percentage he gets here, it won't matter if Igloo loses this next stock. All of that percentage gets wiped going into the next player. So Igloo, with an opportunity to try to put this away, certainly went for it that last stock, but not quite enough. And you have to think, I mean, if a situation like that plays out once more at a higher percentage, that's a dead Lucas.
Yeah, we are starting to see a couple of aggressive options come out from Igloo. Trying to air dodge past the PK freeze. Wow. He does break out, but the air drift on it does mean that he does lose that stock. And Lucas does have one, but Shenandoah does have one more player left in reserve.
Man, I mean, my heart is pounding, and I'm not even playing. Like that, this is an insane Lucas player. But okay, I want to take a moment to point something out. Sorry, I just threw my pen. Y'all didn't see it, but I want to take a moment. Something that crossed my mind before that matchup applies to this matchup. Kazuya has a down B that we've seen him use earlier this year. Now, you can explain this better than me. Right, it's not like he can just do that at 0% and get a kill off of it. Right, you can mash out of it, can't you?
Sort of.
Oh,
you
no,
can't,
Kevin.
Okay, you can't mash out of it. The moment that down B connects, you are in for the ride. But whoever has control of which way Kazuya goes depends on what percentage both players are at. If the Lucas is at a higher percent than the Kazuya will have more control over where he puts the Lucas, and vice versa. Which means that the Lucas can go for some crazy setup shenanigans. If both players are down to 1 stock and Willie tries to grab him, Lucas could say, okay, join me in the blast zone, because you die first.
Interesting.
There's a bit of a mind game, but also, we saw earlier, the setup of the up special on this very stage, this Lucas was able to bring himself back from the heavens or from down below, my apologies.
Yeah.
He was far gone. So that character using the up special to sort of bounce off of the stage is so valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'll be something to keep an eye out for, but now 1 player remaining for both of these schools.
Ruh-roh.
Willie finds his first grab. 3 stocks on this Kazuya, 1 stock ahead of him. Can he get it done? This is not where you'd like to be against this player. We saw the massive difference in the last matchup between these 2 players be these ledge interactions. Can Willie avoid that area, that section of the stage? Can he rack up percentage wherever possible? The electric on the ledge. Can he finish it off 80% with 3 stocks remaining? Another electric lands, and the up smash will connect. Not a problem for Willie, and we are going the distance. This is playoff Smash Bros, Kevin.
Willie sitting there, he gets 1 stock, and there's no smile. There is no just like, he's locked.
Business.
He knows that is what he needed to do. Close out the 1 and make moves. And it happened. That Lucas player, again, playing a little bit more aggressive this time around, kind of sitting around Kazuya. And I get it. If you feel like you can keep that pressure on the Mishima, go for it. But this time around, you had 1 stock, and that character takes stock so fast when you're in that range. So while he was getting good damage, 1 good electric, Chris, and it falls into the Mishima.
Man, I mean, that is very encouraging if you are a Shenandoah fan, too, because Lucas did not even really have an opportunity to breathe against Willie in that setup. So you have to think, in future situations, if Shenandoah can't build the massive advantage that they built going into that Lucas, you have to feel a little bit better about Willie's odds should he need to go in and take more than 1 stock. But for now, you can't complain, right? If you are a Shenandoah fan, you're probably feeling pretty good. I know I am, and I'm sure you are as well. But you know what? You need, and probably all of us need, after watching the amount of Smash Bros. We just watched, is a break. So we are going to take a quick breather here. Do not go anywhere. Go grab a drink. Go grab a snack. Take a moment. Regain. Players are doing it behind us. We have 1 more set to determine who will advance in the Chesapeake playoffs. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
Nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the esports arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry, so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth, where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the esports arena is the esports war room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.
Playoffs. I said it in the intro, it can create some pretty exciting situations, some of my favorite moments in any form of competition, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who feels that way. And this is no exception. We are 1-1 in this playoff series between Shenandoah and New Jersey City University. After a quick break, we're back to settle this. Chris Clayton joined once again by Kevin Clayton. We are live from our Shenandoah Esports Arena here in Winchester, Virginia. Seasons on the line in front of us. Both of these teams have answers for each other. Both of these teams have displayed what they are capable of at their peaks. And we have 12 stocks to decide a winner.
It's a nerve-wracking situation, Chris. Every time we are in this situation, I can't help but feel like I'm just so nervous. And yet, I can't even imagine what the people behind me are feeling. And on top of that, we have seen commanding presence from both sides. It's also not really getting to either side's heads from what I'm seeing. A little bit of a majority of SU's players, when they win these rounds, there is no crazy pop-off. It is reserved. It is, we are going to win this, but I need to do my part and close this out. On the other side of this, NJCU has had a couple of superstar players who have been able to match blow for a lot of what Shenandoah has had to offer. But the Lucas player in particular, who is a very good player, is also shown multiple times, throwing out those taunts, throwing out a little bit of the teabags. He's feeling good, but now the pressure's on. Can he close it out? Are the tensions high enough that it could aggravate a player to making a wrong decision, or will it blow up in his face?
Yeah, it's hard to say. And the biggest, I think, one of the things that could absolutely decide this set right now is who do you send out first? I don't even really have the answer because so set number 1, we sent out Kip first. He took 5 stocks. Great. Put Shenandoah out into a commanding lead to then have it ripped away by this Lucas player. Set number 2, we send out AJ first. We find ourselves in a hole to start the series, but then claw all the way back to find an advantage somewhere else that was then insurmountable for the Lucas in the end. Who changes what? That's the question. Because we have talked on this desk so much about the winners don't tend to change. But right now, who's the winner? Both of these teams have won once. Something's got to give.
I think it's on both.
I don't know who moves first.
Yeah, I think it's on both. And that's why we send in both at the start, right? You don't know who's playing what. And it's for moments like these where it doesn't favor either the person who had the lead starting or the person who's clawing back. We're going to see a choice made by both teams starting off this crew battle. Someone's walking away with 3 stocks. And that will decide the tempo of the rest of the game. And while we can't talk too much about what the opposing side may have to offer for their potential mix-ups, I do think there are some other factors at play that Shenandoah does have access to. We've talked about Far Rhombus and how this Puff player is starting to shed the shell of sub, they very well could make a presence here today and cause some ruckus. But also, we've seen our players at Shenandoah have started picking up secondaries. People are starting to find opportunities to get other characters into these competitive environments. And so it could be, maybe a character isn't doing what we were hoping they would do. Let's try shaking this up and get something else. Get answers for these niche interactions and work from there. There are so many options. And I do not know going into this, Chris, which one goes first.
Yeah, I mean, this... You're right. This creates an opportunity for some seriously interesting strategies because, like, you and I are League of Legends guys. Some of you at home may be League of Legends people. We just watched the World's Finals not too long ago. League of Legends series are notorious for having Game 5s and players not playing like themselves at all, right? When the series is on the line, we get some wacky stuff. And Kevin, we've got some wacky stuff.
Yes.
AJ is player number 1 to go out for Shenandoah on the Pikachu into this Joker for NJCU.
Yeah, and Pikachu is definitely the kind of character that can really shake up the formula. A small character with great combo potential, but can lose these stocks early. So it's going to be on AJ to get a little bit of control early on. Already the small factor coming into play, using that size to dash under the side special from Joker, as Joker is building up a little bit of Arsene meter, but this Pikachu is getting the momentum going.
Yeah, we've seen the Rebels Guard come out one time already, so that'll be something to keep an eye out for as we keep an eye on the Arsene meter, but Arsene is out, so that will mean that those back airs are insanely strong. AJ unable to recover from that one, and now Arsene showing why that makes this character so strong. And we now wait for Arsene to go away as AJ will be forced to try to find a way back in, try to rebound from that. Only 50% on this Joker. He's probably feeling pretty good about his odds so far.
Yeah, this Joker player is looking very comfortable to start things off. AJ's Pikachu getting a little bit more damage going and is now getting, again, just a little bit of combo potential. You're trying to use the Thunder Jolt to get an approach going, but the Joker doing a good job of shielding and then grabbing to continue that momentum in their favor, as AJ is trying to use that up special to dash past the Joker, but this time around, this Joker is doing a good job of responding to it.
Yeah, Joker's been all over the options for AJ, unable to make it back to stage in any way he can come up with as he's catching those forward tilts, making his way back to the ledge now and looking to try to reverse this into a stock the other direction, but the dash attack will catch AJ right off stage. The down air won't quite connect, but if Pikachu's got anything, it's a really good recovery. That up B can be a pain to deal with, but it's looking like AJ's struggling to really string these combos together. He might not be too comfortable with what percentages these work at because these combos are just sort of falling apart. The drag down up air will result in another stock for Rampage, as now he looks to potentially put this away with a 3 stock if he's able to take one more off AJ.
And here comes a very good string coming out from AJ. Arsene is online, going for the forward smash, trying to catch Joker, holding onto the ledge just a little too long. But it won't work this time around. Joker, this time around, opting to stay on the ledge for a while. Pikachu able to get the grab and the back throw, and Joker's Arsene is very quickly depleting, Chris.
Yeah, it seems like he didn't even really make contact until just now with the Arsene, and now, just like that, it's gone. 140%, and a back air from the ledge won't quite finish that one off just yet, but now, I mean, if you're Rampage, you got to think you're probably not getting another Arsene this stock at such a high percentage, but, I mean, Joker does not need Arsene to find kills, but sure enough, AJ doesn't need Arsene either. He's got all that electricity stored up, and he will find a forward smash from center stage, and a high percentage Joker will go straight into the blast zone.
Yeah, and we do see, again, now both players starting to slow down a little bit. Rampage taking his time, making sure if he's going for an opening, he's getting not only that, but a little bit of stage control with it. Sort of dancing around, trying to use the neutral special and the Agons to get that damage going. AJ still able to sit in center stage and is now starting to build up a little bit of damage. Look at the forward air as now Joker is sitting at 44%, 47, and Arsene should be online in just a moment here as Pikachu is very close to losing this stock off of a back air.
Yeah, I really like the aggressive options from AJ, trying to find the spike, but the up air won't quite find the ledge, and AJ will go down. SU in a 2-stock deficit once more, but we've seen this team bounce back from this quite literally like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So if you're SU, you cannot be too panicked about that. The character swap for SU not quite working out, I'm sure, as they had hoped, but ultimately, one stock is one stock. And now, NJCU, with their Joker in early this time, has an opportunity to snowball this into something even greater.
Yeah, so at this point, do you send in, I assume, to be Kip? I think we've had these answers figured out where it's laid out, and Kip was able to really dance with this Joker, and now the shoe is on the other foot. We thought about the blow-for-blow thing with the Joker, where he was going to have a percentage lead where, yes, this Joker is just going up against this Pac-Man and able to close out the 2 stocks like they did the first time around, and then Kip sweeps the Joker. Now, while the Joker is the one at 2 stocks, Pac-Man at 3, he has momentum. He's going to go into this game playing the aggressive play, most likely playing the aggressive play style that we saw the last couple of times. Kip had those answers to deal with it, but that is when this matchup was the closest. So now that this Joker has momentum, will we see that carry over into this match? We will see.
Yeah, it's just hard to say, right? I mean, nothing is predictable about this series anymore because there was such a stark contrast between set number 1 and set number 2 in terms of how we got to the final players, right? The pathway to the finish line changed drastically. And so far, at least from NJCU's side, they're back on their winning path with the Joker out first, and this time he comes out on top in the first matchup. So NJCU probably feeling pretty good about where they're at, but I imagine Shenandoah is not panicking either because, again, like we know, if you look deeper, if you look between the lines, we know that the matchups so far, up until the Lucas, have kind of favored Shenandoah.
Right. We've seen players who have had very strong performances, and while I do think that this starting point is going to be a big deal, it is also going to be on Rampage right here. Can this Rampage continue, or is it going to be stuffed out by Pac-Man? We will have to see as we hop into game. We are back on Kalos once again. Rampage trying to do a tether trick and accidentally grabs the ledge. Does lose that 1 stock as we hop into this.
Yeah, this is a really pivotal moment in this series, and I'm not asking Kip to 3-stock, but I'm going to say that is far and away worst case scenario for Rampage. If he's not able to get a stock, or I shouldn't say 3-stock, 2-stock. if Kip doesn't lose a stock, that's really bad for NJCU, as now that was what happened in set number 2, and with combos like that, that's certainly not where you'd like to be if you are this Joker. Now up to 100%, Arsene out and almost halfway gone already. The Hydrant eating that side B as both players fighting over control over the Hydrant. Kip looking for a stun. The platform will save Rampage for now as he finds his way back on stage, but Arsene will make his way back home onto the face of Joker in that mask.
Yeah, and we do see Kip doing a really good job of dancing around this Joker. We did see aggressive playstyle to start things off, and again, it's not working out to start things off as this Joker is just eating percent left, right, and center, and so can this Joker find this middle ground where they're trying to bait out the options from the Pac-Man, or are they just going to eat keys and equalize this matchup for Shenandoah?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I cannot help but point out the fact that Kip has taken 16% so far in this game. Kip has been in complete control from the beginning. He's not even really getting touched. He's finding the shields, finding the Hydrant victories, and so far, Rampage has not had the answer. We're finally seeing Rampage find his way in, get a grab, but not much else, as Kip is right back on stage finding these forward air trains, going for a grab and not even getting punished for it. It's little things like that that are really going to start to add up. Arsene is out, though, so this is the opportunity for Rampage. Can he take a stock away, like, right now?
Yeah, and this is the point to do it. We talk about the importance of this value Arsene brings as the trampoline is used, but it goes away. Kip using the up special, not messing with anything that was going with, and Arsene is gone, Chris. That means that the biggest factor of this for now is off the screen, and even so, even if Arsene was in this round, the stage is huge. I don't think this Joker could close stocks without getting a very good string going as a bell connects into the side special and Kip walks away 3 stocks in hand. Chris, it's even again.
What did I say going into that matchup? What was worst case scenario for NJCU? Exactly that. Because this Joker was really the only person we've seen go toe-to-toe with Kip until the Lucas, excuse me. So, with 2 players still left as cushioning between now and Lucas, and Kip with 3 stocks, that is a massive deal for Shenandoah.
Yes, and so you have this moment where you say, who do you send in against this Pac-Man? Do you send in the Aegis? Well, that didn't go great. Do you send in this hero player? I think the hero got a stock, so maybe that's the answer. What I think is probably the hardest call-out, the most aggressive decision you can make to try and bring this back out is you send in the Lucas. Try to blow for blow Pac-Man and Lucas, where Lucas took 3 stocks off of this Pac-Man, or 2 stocks off of this Pac-Man, excuse me, and was able to only lose 1. If that happens, assuming it plays out like normal, Avery will take 1 off of this Lucas, and then Willie is sent in and will take 1 off of the Lucas. But that means it would be on Willie to try and close out this crew battle instead of the other way around. And that's an aggressive call out, but I do think that is a very real possibility of saying of making the hard call that you are the better team going into this. This could be the biggest, most important match of this entire series coming up here on what decision this school makes.
No, I totally agree. And the big thing to keep in mind is that NJCU has shown that they're not afraid to take Lucas out of the anchor position. In set number 1, Lucas came in as player number 3. We didn't even get to see player number 4 until set 2. So I agree. I frankly think it is the best decision for NJCU right now to do exactly what you said. Put the pressure on Shenandoah. You know what's coming, right? We just watched the blueprint last set, okay? We know that that's probably going to make its way down again if we keep everything the same. So if you're NJCU, that did not work out at all. That left Willie with 3 stocks in the end. So I think you're absolutely right. I think it makes so much more sense to send in Lucas right now and have him go as far as possible and put the pressure on SU. Can you outlast us instead of making me outlast you? We are getting word from our production that that is exactly what is happening.
Yes, as we talk about this, I do see another opportunity. Keep in mind, when going into this game, we've seen it where we expect a Shenandoah 1 stock off of this Lucas player, right? That's what you want. But Kip only had 2 stocks the last time around. He got a lot of percentage buildup on those 2 stocks as well as the 1. It could be that this Lucas does lose more, and it may have made more sense to send in that hero. We will have to see as this plays out who walks away taking the stocks that they need. It's a team game. It will come down to which team has the better synergy going into this.
Yeah, and if you're watching from home and you've got this on a side monitor or something, you're half paying attention, now is the time to be watching what's happening, as I can't explain what just happened there, but I mean, this is a massive moment in this series. Both of these players with 3 stocks going up against each other this early is going to be something to witness, and this will absolutely, I think the result of this matchup could very well dictate the rest of the set going forward, as both of these players now look to clash with each other, and every single moment, every little interaction is going to matter more than it's mattered ever before. Yeah, Kip looking for the bells, the forward smash lands, 130% on this Lucas. Oh man, this has been interesting so far.
Yeah, Bell is online. It doesn't go for the regrab. Is standing right outside the PK fire range. And Lucas is sitting where just about a back air or a Bell confirm could take him out. An apple will send him up to the top, but it's not enough this time around as the key is online. The hydrant is set up, and Lucas is caught throwing out too many PK fires. Means that he will eat a key to the face, and Pac-Man is sitting at 46.
Okay, I cannot tell at home how much you all can hear behind us. The team is hot right now. They are loving what they're seeing, and they should. This is a massive deal for SU. They're up a stock against this player that has given them so much trouble over 2 sets. They were able to come out on top in one of those sets, but not without this Lucas wreaking havoc before ultimately going down. This is something we haven't seen before. This Lucas down in stocks in an even matchup. Kip now up to a 95% and still finding combos, finding hits. Again, every little interaction is going to matter so much the longer this goes on. And this Lucas is taking damage. He'll launch himself off stage. I don't even know how that happened. The up he caught on the wrong side of the Lucas and he launches himself so far off stage he can't get back, and Lucas has 1 stock left.
Chris, we have seen this Lucas play incredibly aggressive, knowing little interactions, niche little things that have worked so well in his favor. And this time around, the one time he uses a move that has worked so well in his advantage, it backfires. It is falling into Kip's hands, and he is off stage. Bell regrabbed, and he can still make it back at the moment using the trampoline, trying to bait out the Lucas. He gets back on, but the up air will be able to close that stock. Lucas is at 68%. This is such a different game than what we have seen from this Lucas every single time. He plays so aggressive. He plays on not only this game, but the mental of the players. And this time around, he is doing nothing but playing this game. He's not trying to get fancy with it, just going for what he can get guaranteed, as Pac-Man does have to go low, does get the up special to connect. Lucas opting to get back onto the stage, but the move has just enough end lag for him to grab the shield, means that now Kip is back on stage.
Okay, and again, you have to realize that there's a player, there's a human behind that controller. That player has more pressure on them than they've probably had in a really long time. They found themselves in a real uncomfortable situation, forced with clutching up for the rest of your team, performing with your season on the line, 1 stock left and 125% with Kip still having 2 stocks to work with. This is not at all where he'd like to be, trying to find the cheeky projectile with the high apple. The apple lands. It won't quite finish. An early pop-up there from Kip. The second apple gets it done. Look at the reaction from the team. 2 apples is the answer. Not recommended by your doctors, but Kip finishing the Lucas off. 2 players remain for NJCU, but you have to recognize how significant that is in the length of this series.
I cannot believe it, Chris. This Lucas play, the best that New Jersey has to offer, and the pressure is on. We're in this crew battle situation, and I truly think the experience of it all, where both sides are in this high pressure situation, and Shenandoah is just a little bit more familiar with it, doesn't get onto that autopilot, and they walk away the winner. We saw Lucas going for the PK fire, something that's been working this entire time, suddenly stuffed out by a key. 1 PK Thunder interaction, something, again, working the entire time, sends Lucas off stage. And it closes it out with Lucas trying to play aggressive, trying to play different, and an apple takes it out just like the Joker before.
Yeah, okay, I was just about to ask for a replay, and I'm so glad our prod team was on that. So he chased the Pac-Man up above himself with the up B, and then came down just a little too low, and the up B I don't think was ever directed to the left in any way, but it ends up connecting with the Lucas hitbox and launching him so far off stage. That was a massive moment, and then the apple to finish the job. Kip still has 2 stocks.
Yes.
He only lost 1 stock in that entire game. I think you're right. Experience came out on top. SU has been here before, been here this year, been in uncomfortable situations too many times. But they know what it takes to get out of it, and sure enough, oh man, 8 stocks remaining, a 2-stock lead with 2 players remaining for New Jersey City. Wow.
And you have to sit there. If you are NJCU right now, you're sitting there wondering what you could have done differently. And to be honest, I love the aggressive call out. I do too. Do think there is a way that that matchup plays out, and you take it all. You make that hard call out, put it all out there. But this time around, it didn't pay off. Maybe you send in the hero. You can only say maybe this should have been the answer. But right now, it is looking very good for Shenandoah as Kip takes his 1 stock down, and Kashira's Pyramithra is back on the stage.
Yeah, if you just joined us after that last matchup, you might think that this series is over. It is not. It is not at all. Shenandoah still has 2 players to get through. So we cannot write this off yet. NJCU is absolutely still in this series. As long as they have a stock, they are a threat. So with 2 players and 8 stocks in their way, NJCU with their season on the line and their best player now down and out, how do you respond?
He is online. Kip already racking up that damage so quickly, and the Aegis player is on the Mithra this time around, but again, this time, it feels like something's different. It feels like Kip's momentum is working so well in his favor because this Pyramithra is still struggling to find opportunities to get in with the fast option, going for the Mithra. And it's still not enough. Kip opting for the apple, going a little high as Pyra goes for the side special. The roll-in on the hydrant means that Kip gets a stock after only taking 44.
Yeah, not the start you want if you're NJCU, right? You need to find advantages, and so far, Kashira has not found any. The projectile game has been dominant by Kip. The spacing, the zoning, Kip living pretty at any point on the stage, right? He takes control and controls the entire stage from wherever he's standing, and this Pyramithra has not been able to find the answer, but now finding some strings, finally finding their way in, switching between Pyra and Mithra once more, but still leaning that Pyra direction. I think you may have called it in the last series. We may see more of that, but so far they are back on the Mithra for now, trying to find an advantage, but 100% now Kip could go down. We know what Pyramithra as a character is capable of, but not in moments like that with a combo like this. Man, so much damage, but will find a forward smash the other direction.
Yeah, and now at this point, I am expecting to see more of that Pyra, because just about anything should KO this Pac-Man at this point. Pyra getting aggressive with these up specials is able to catch the Pac-Man up B, a remnant of what we saw the last time around. Because that Lucas was going off stage, Kip has felt the pressure to recover just a little higher. Well, this time around, he's caught for it. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see him opt to go a little bit lower on these recoveries going forward, but the trampoline went away! That was almost a very dangerous situation for that Pyramithra.
Yeah, man, scary situation, but I mean, so far, NJCU is not out of this at all, right? I cannot emphasize, we cannot be looking to a W just yet, right? These are still very good players on our screens, and just because the Lucas is behind us does not mean that the threat is gone in any way. Kashira exuding a lot of pressure off stage, trying to find another one of those up B interactions, but can't quite find it just yet. And Kip has taken a lot of damage, right? This has been a good run from this Aegis player, but they are up to 150%, and they'll fall right into the stun, just not knowing the interaction, not knowing how long that bell will last. They'll lose another stock for it, and that doesn't feel great because now Kip has an uncomfortable opportunity to try to put this player away, and I hate to bring this up now, but I mentioned it earlier this series. Moments like this, tasked with the
What in the world?
Okay, I'm going to stop that thought there because it no longer applies. A very interesting interaction, a forward smash onto the fire hydrant. That lingering hitbox finds its way home, and with that, Kip is gone.
I love the forward smash because it lingers, you get the hit off, and it does. In that situation, it KOs. Kip was at that high percent. Once Pac-Man is at that high percent, I'm all for being on Pyra to close out those stocks. It's when you need to dance around and build up that damage that I want to see more Mithra. But this time around, I feel like it was, I mean, the KO screen kind of showed it, Chris. There's a lot of space.
There was okay. I'm glad that wasn't just me.
No, that was...
Because I couldn't tell if the hydrant hit him or if the forward smash.
I'm thinking Pyra threw out the forward smash, it stays lingering, and then Kip maybe like threw out a forward air and his like toes were out and just got tapped right there and flew off the screen.
That's
Either
probably
way,
right.
Pyra Mithra is still in. And that means that this Aegis player has a lot left to do. It's not over. It's 4 stocks to 6. But those 6 stocks are up against 2 of Shenandoah's strongest players who, while we haven't gotten to see too much out of them, it is very important to acknowledge.
Yeah, we do have the replay of that last stock here on your screen.
Kind of like the up air lingering
feet
back a little bit. And then Pac-Man was caught on the spot.
Interesting.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Hold, Chris. Kazuya Mishima is on
There's
screen.
A scary demon man in front of us.
Yes. The Willy has entered instead of Igloo, which means he may be looking to just try and close things out. One electric combo to start things off. Here comes another. We see just a couple of good hits, a jab, trying to get a little bit more damage. There's that footstool setup I acknowledged before as Pyra is trying to dance around what this Kazuya has going. The electric barely misses the Pyra as both players are sitting around the same percentage.
Yeah, this is... Oh, wow! This is an undeniably aggressive decision out of Shenandoah to put Willy in right now and try to finish off this Pyra Mithra player. This player took 2 stocks off Kip, something that Lucas was unable to do, and now has taken a stock off Willy. Willy hasn't been able to find his way in since the start of this game, as now he will find the grab, and that is a little uncomfortable. Will make it back as the Mithra recovery, but he's going to do the same exact thing. Can't recover from it twice, as Willy will lose a stock, but 1 player remains for NJCU, and we expect that it is that hero that we didn't even see come out the first time around.
I do want to think that Kazuya was sent in because you can deal... I feel like Kazuya deals with a sortie better than he does with someone who's trying to zone. And Hero has both of those going for him. So I appreciate the idea of sending Kazuya in now and just trying to get whatever guaranteed value he's got, because we've also seen that Igloo's performance is relatively consistent. He can really force an option out of the opponent and should be able to close this if needed. But also, we're talking Kazuya Mishima. I need to talk for a moment about the move that we just saw. That grab move where Pyra Mithra gets sent at that weird angle.
It's disgusting.
It's a bad angle. Because let's put this into perspective, right? Let's say they were on Pyra. You have your double jump and an up B that goes straight up and then straight down. Where does that move send you? About, on the clock face, it sends you at about a 5. It is crazy.
Yeah, and it's rare. It's not something that really, I don't want to say any other character, but like not many characters at all have any move that sends you at that angle. Right. Because Smash Bros. As a game is sort of recoveries as a fundamental are based around the idea that you get launched and you have time to fall, and you can either, you can recover high to make your way back, you can fall low and then come up and grab the ledge. But when you're, like, the idea is that when you're sent at that angle, you have time to make a decision, and you have time to play, or sometimes you don't have a decision to be made, you're left with 1 option back, but you at least have an option. When you're sent at that angle, that leaves so many characters without an option, without a way back, without even... literally, like, it's impossible. And that's why we saw the Mithra just go and launch herself off into the blast zone, because she knew there's no way to get back from that angle.
Right. The first time around, I do want to give kudos, because a lot of players in that situation are like, oh, I need to jump, I need to up B and all that stuff. And they did the right option. They jumped, and then they swapped between Pyra and Mithra because Willy was shooting that Kazuya laser.
Yeah.
So many people get thrown at that angle or get like launched off stage and then will immediately jump and will just eat a laser to the face.
And then you're absolutely dead.
Right.
Every time.
Doesn't even matter. So, with all of that being said, we should be hopping into game shortly. Hero player left on the line needs to take 5 stocks off of Shenandoah's roster, and 2 of these stocks are up against a scary demon, man, Chris.
I would argue the scary demon, man. This Willie has found an uncomfortable amount of success on this roster, and especially in moments like this. It's not often that we see him come out before the last player, but it's certainly often that we see him need to be the closer for Shenandoah, and sure enough, he will look to do that now. Series, playoffs, season on the line, long combo on the platform, looking for more. He will fall out of that one as Hero buys himself a little bit of time, but he will get stunned right back on the platform. Gets
Good Lord,
right
man.
back onto the platform. 1 stock down. 2 more to go. This is playoffs. The loser of this goes home. Shenandoah looking to move on with 2 more stocks ahead of them. Can Willie do it? He's looking hot right now, Kevin.
He's looking for the grab. There it is. 1 electric into a couple of quick jabs. Will he be able to find the combo setup? He will not this time around, as the rage is knocking Hero just a little bit too far away, but he also has his kill button online, Chris. This rage art could KO the Mishima or the Hero if needed. It won't be used on this down B because he did the aerial version, but a couple of lasers means that Hero is in an awkward spot and is at the percentage where Willie may be able to close it with a good rage art hit.
Yeah, this is where that kill button is a kill button. What? I don't even know what we just saw there.
That was a kaboom, Chris. The Hero got up and then top-decked their menu and managed to get the option that they needed. Willie able to close that stock. Here comes the grab. 1 hit. Goes for another grab. Goes for another electric. Here comes it. Another quick grab. Here's an electric. Goes for another. Gets the setup going. Hero is at 130, Chris, off of 1 good grab combo.
Dude, this character has caused issues for so many schools. This is nothing new. Shenandoah with this incredible Kazuya player looking to finish the job now. The smash attack won't land. There's that angle we're talking about. And Shenandoah will advance. Reverse sweeping NJCU 2-1 in the series to advance in the Chesapeake playoffs of NECC.
Every time, Chris, every time I see Kazuya Mishima, I'm like, what do we do? This crew battle was so tense, leading up to what we saw before, where we suddenly saw 2 lights for both teams that needed respect from the opposing sides. The Lucas and the Pac-Man needed so much respect. And then once those factors were taken out, we've talked about it, you need answers for not only a Pac-Man, but Kazuya Mishima. That's a lot to ask for.
It is. It will always be a lot to ask for. And as good as Willie is, as much as we tout Willie as probably the best player on this roster, I think it needs to be said that if we're giving out MVPs, and we're not, but if we were, it needs to go to Kip. Because that performance against Mr. Smash Bros. Himself on the Lucas completely dictated the rest of the series. I mean, that was the moment. If we're looking back at all of this, that was it. It was an aggressive decision. Both of us agree that I think I like that choice. We outlined pros and cons, sure, but ultimately, it's a decision that needs to be made by the people in that room. They made a decision, and Kip snuffed it out. That was incredible to watch.
And every time you're in that sort of situation, you need to have faith. Those sorts of decisions aren't made on, well, the statistical probability of this. No. If you are going to make an aggressive call out and say, hey, we need to send this in now and snuff out this light from the other team, it's an aggressive call, and you need to have faith in your team to do it. This time around, you made the aggressive call, and it did not pay off, but I am positive that they will make that call again in the future, and it will pay in dividends.
Oh, I totally agree. And, you know, with the bracket now, like, we know that Shenandoah will now advance to play the 1 seed in William & Mary. The matchup we just watched was the 4 seed against the 5 seed. Doesn't get closer than that. But you have to feel good about the fact that Shenandoah did just claw out of a serious deficit and find their way into a win, right? It's one thing to claw back, it's another thing to finish the job. Shenandoah did just showcase what they're capable of, and William & Mary is a familiar opponent.
Oh yeah, because we're dealing with an opponent that this roster has already run into and has tried to find these answers for. It does feel worrying when you have one player that you need to fall back on. This is a powerful roster that Shenandoah has going. We have 4 superstar players who are willing to bring it all and try to bring that momentum forward. I just worry now going into this. Are these niche matchups going to take place? Is the opponent going to start scouting? I think that first round loss was the opponent making very deliberate choices on who Shenandoah had in their reserve. Now the chess game of these decisions is getting real.
Yeah, it's very real, and we are in playoffs, baby. I mean, it does not get much more exciting, much more intense than this, but that will do it for us out here on the desk. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to drop us a follow on whatever platform you're watching on right now so you don't miss out on any future action here at Shenandoah. Also, we have another playoff matchup coming up from this Smash Bros. Team on Thursday. So they will be competing in their NECC Varsity Premier competition against University of North Carolina, Greensboro. So do not miss out on that. But for Chris and Kevin, hey, be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We have Ben standing by with the player of the series. Ben, take it away.
Thank you very much, Chris and Kevin. I am joined by Kyle Dexter, a.k.a. Kip. How are we feeling after that series?
Honestly, amazing. That Game 3 momentum shift changed everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unbelievable series, right? Very close in that first set, that Lucas causing some problems. What was the mentality for you knowing that you're going to be going into that Lucas in that third set?
I was actually feeling a little confident because from what we've gathered from the first 2 games, they did not want to send in the Lucas if we had to because we played them last year and I also beat the Lucas then. So they didn't want to throw in the Lucas versus me. Hopefully, they were hoping that the rest of their team would just take care of me, and then the Lucas just take care of the rest of the team. But I think they wanted to stop my momentum Game 3 after when I did Game 2. So I actually felt really confident because I knew they wanted to stop my momentum. It was kind of more of a desperate option from them. So I knew just knowing that they wanted to stop my momentum actually gave me more confidence than anything.
For sure, yeah. And speaking of that momentum, those last 2 sets for yourself were monstrous, right? What got that momentum going, and how did you keep that up going in those last 2 sets?
For starting the momentum, it was honestly I just kind of played, and it's just one thing led to another. I always had my team behind me, always give me some nice encouraging words. Sometimes they would tell me like funny jokes that are obviously in good spirit of the competition. That were to get like the stress off the shoulders. Excuse me. But yeah, it's always such a pleasure to be on this team with them because they know how to decompress you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great. It's a team game, right? You have 3 friends behind you. I know I was behind a little bit being supportive when I wasn't in the back room. But how do we feel moving forwards into playoffs? Chris and Kevin mentioned it on Thursday. I believe you have NECC playoffs coming up as well. How do you feel going into that matchup, considering how you guys did tonight?
So we're actually feeling pretty confident. We've done a lot of research on them. We've been getting practice for whatever is coming our way for them. And there's not much we can say about it, but other than just we're confident to just face them.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Kip, do you know what your final score was today?
Stock count?
Yeah. Do you know your stock count? You were 18-9. That's insane. That is unbelievable stuff from you, Kip, and the rest of the team as well played so well. So that'll be it for us here in the interview room. That'll be it for us on the stream as well. Congratulations to our Smash team with a hard-fought victory here in playoffs. Can't wait to see where you guys go in the rest of the season and in the other leagues as well that we are competing in. We have Tekken tomorrow for Mossman. On Wednesday, we have Thursday, we have Rocket League, and you guys yet again for the other playoff match this week. So stick around, keep the notifications on, and we will see you next time.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
Over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
Nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway.
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
Cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the esports arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the esports arena is the esports war room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.
We'll